I like you. Everybody ready?
No, but everybody's rallying tonight.
Huh?
They're rallying tonight.
Yeah. A lot to say. There we go. Good evening, everyone. Can I have everyone's attention, please? Hope y'all had a great day. We're going to call this administrative meeting to order. Would you stand for prayer? Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for another day, O Lord. Lord, we thank you for this sunshine weather you have given us, O Lord. Lord, we ask you to please protect the parish, O Father God. Oh, Father, we know it's election time, O Lord. Would you please keep everybody from any kind of harm and danger, Father, while they're traveling to the polls, O Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. President report, none. Any report from the legal counsel?
No.
Thank you. Any calls and deletion for the administrative committee? Okay. None. Guests and public comments. We have one, Mr. Zach Lynn Dow, and Mr. John with Brownfields. Would you please come up?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good to see all of you once again.
Yes, sir.
I promise not to talk about garbage this time, unless Rick brings it up. This project is something that has been around for quite some time. Knowing that not everyone is familiar with brownfields, just a quick explanation of it. Brownfields is a federal grant process in which blighted, polluted, or underutilized properties are assessed, cleaned up, and then put back into productive use. And I'll use a word that you don't get to hear very often. It's one of the few bipartisan efforts in D.C. Republicans and Democrats like it, but for different reasons. Every president since '01 has increased funding for brownfields, and it's pretty much this, and we all have these properties scattered all over the country. These are everything from an old abandoned gas station. It could be an old, say, dry cleaning facility. Could be a property that we think it was something many years ago, but we're not sure. It's gone through various ownerships. And the idea is this, is to assess the properties, put together a catalog, a listing of what properties. Last week when I drove around throughout the parish and then with Mansfield and then even in South Mansfield, identified 45 to 50 of these types of properties very quickly. That's not a high number compared that nationwide the estimate is anywhere from 500,000 to 1 million such properties all over the U.S. And so if you go just a few blocks over, you'll see some abandoned office space. You may see like an old feed and seed store. Again, gas stations. And the idea is simply go in, assess, so what has it been used for? What are the potential environmental issues? And then follow it up with a cleanup grant. Now, I know that y'all have recently hired a grant writer. However, this is a very, very specific, technically competent area that, of course, the grant writer will have a role in, but the offer is, and Lim texted me and said that he had been held up, I'm assuming in traffic. If he had been held up otherwise, I'd hope that he wouldn't text on that.
He's here.
He looks like he's in good enough shape. So the idea is this, and by the way, full disclosure, my role in this comes through my work with the Louisiana Municipal Association. And so I've been providing them technical expertise in the area of brownfields, as well as the Delta Regional Authority for a number of years. This past year, for example, right down the road from you guys on the other side of the state, we worked with Tallulah for almost a year and a half, 2 years in preparation of this. Ultimately, Lim's company, Terracon, was able to work with, submit the grant so that they could receive it. Now, tomorrow we do a big check signing, one of those big check ceremonies. Tallulah was able to get $500,000 in assessment. That goes a long ways in a small community. That level of assessment, and then we follow it up the following year with a cleanup grant. What I was going to suggest, because there's a couple of things that need to happen from the jury on this, is give us the green light to go ahead and pursue this so that we can put this application together. The deadline for this year is right on us, so that's going to be very difficult. However, getting started early for something like this is important. This is not one of those grants where you apply on Monday and you get money on Friday. This is one where you apply late November, December, you find out whether you got it in May, you start drawing down the funds August through October, okay? So putting it off a year so that we can get some other things. For example, one of the things that's very, very important to this is a parish-wide master plan that would need to be developed. That's something that on our side, through the university, we could help you guys with that. Again, there's no ask for money or funding or nothing from you guys. It's literally let us come in here and work with you, work with the parish, work with those 2 municipalities, perhaps even the school board. They've got some properties that they would like to get off their books. And so that would be the way we would go about this, working with you guys. And again, one of the best things about, to me anyway, one of the best things about it, this is a voluntary program. It doesn't tie up any property. It doesn't raise any red flags. It is the ultimate, as we say, get out of jail free card. And for sure, all of you know of properties that perhaps 3 generations ago, it was a thriving gas station. Grandma and grandpa have long since deceased. The parents ran it for a while. Now the grandkids have moved out of the area, maybe out of the state, and the property, there's nothing going on there now. This is a way for you to rehabilitate that property and put it back into productive use. I'm sure there's questions on this. Lim's company, Terracon, works with us closely, as does a number of these, and there's no locking in here. Terracon simply works with you, putting the grant together, and there's no contractual arrangement after you get the award, subject to you getting the award. So it's a way to rehabilitate properties, as I've said, that that needs to be looked at to put them back in a productive use. So I'll answer any question. Rod?
Yes, sir. Is this mostly commercial property or?
It does not include residential.
Okay.
And the reason being is there are other pots of money. This money comes from the EPA, and the point of brownfields is not clean up just to clean it up. It's to clean it up, and you've got an intended use in mind. Now, whether or not you stick to that intended use is different. Things change. During the course of a year, 2 years, what you may have wanted to start off, let's just say, for example, as a community center, you may now find that there is a pharmacy that wants to come in and locate at that corner property. That's totally a decision. The reason, and this may be important here, that bringing it to you guys is that there is more money and there's more a likelihood of success when you put together a coalition of the parish and 2 municipalities and perhaps even the school board. There's more money and there's more a chance of success. The rate of those grants being approved are significantly higher than if you just went out on this on your own. The other piece to it, because the parish has their own grant writer that can oversee some of the compliance piece, you've got the structure in place really to manage this. And so, not that Mansfield or South Mansfield doesn't, they have the demonstrated need for it. but you guys have, to be quite fair, the competency to oversee this. And so this would be where the money would come through the parish, working with them. There is money for planning and several other pieces of it so that you're not out of pocket any expenses.
Any more questions?
I don't know if, Mr. President, someone had asked this question or not, but say you take an old dilapidated gas station, for instance, and that would qualify?
Yes, they're one of the biggest sources of it. And the reason being is some of these, they go out, they go bankrupt or just go out of use. There may still be underground storage tanks
Right.
that you need to address. And that could be a potential environmental issue, but it also could be a public health issue depending on where that underground storage tank is. This is a process where, working hand in hand with EPA and DEQ, we can remediate or clean that up and put that back into productive use. Oftentimes, the commercial value of the property is being held back because there's a perception. And one of the things we often find is that the perception is actually wrong. It just could be an old abandoned property, window got broke, now it's accumulated garbage, and fortunately, it's just an ugly sight. And thank God there's no crime against being ugly, or I would have gotten the chair a long time ago. So what we'll do is we try to rehabilitate that, but always with yours and citizen input.
All right, second part of the question is, say someone, okay, now it's redone, and someone wants to go into business and buy that.
They can do it.
Where do they buy it from?
In that case, it may still be under the ownership, depending on if it had been cleaned up. The ownership may have transferred temporarily through the parish or the city, depending on the jurisdiction of it. But at no time does the parish have any liability on the property. You get an actual letter from the EPA and DEQ absolving you of any liability. The only reason that you would clean it up, to be quite fair, is that you would have an intended person on the backside of it, ready to do it. They may, and we've seen this many times, you go in there, you look at it, you assess it, and it turns out there's really not any environmental concerns. And so that property is quickly adjudicated and put back into productive use. And many times, just having that certainty from DEQ or EPA is what a private business wanted to see in the first place.
Okay. So in one aspect, you're saying that in order to, it's best to have someone who want to put that business in service before we, use the grant to fix it up?
It could be a business. There could be
If it's going to be a.
well, it could be that, or it could be used for something for the community. For example, another piece of the puzzle on this is there's money associated with workforce development, specifically in this sector. And so it could be job training. It could be a public health area, like another walk-in clinic. One of the properties we're looking at, for example, in Tallulah, it's a pretty good-sized property. They're going to redevelop their fire station closer to the population so that they reduce that or increase their fire rating to lower the monthly insurance fees. Well, that's a real good public use. The idea is to create that public-private partnership so that if a private business wanted to come in, great, or if it wanted to be mixed use. So it could be retail shopping, low-income housing, and then upper-income housing. We've seen whole combinations of these. Yes, sir.
Yes, this property is property that the parish already has control of, right? It's
Does not have
private.
to be that, no.
Private, it could be private property
It's
also.
more than likely going to be private. In fact, I think, Lynn, when we went through most of the properties we saw, more than likely were private. For the assessment piece of this, there's no need that the property become owned by, say in this case, the parish. The assessment piece is really a background and look at what are the potential issues associated with it. What you'll do is typically, say in this case, when we went around last week, probably saw 45, 50 sites, okay? Assess those, narrow those down to, okay, if we got cleanup dollars, which ones would we clean up? And then from there, you guys, working with City of Mansfield, South Mansfield, Parish, obviously, looking at, say, what are the 4 or 5 properties we really want to clean up? The ones that have the most potential to either be put back into private use or for some additional public process. So throughout the whole thing, that's why we'll lean a lot on what direction you guys give us. And then when the cleanup dollars come, go specifically for the cleanup of those properties.
Yes, sir.
Are there any, do you have any references of entities that you guys have worked with? Is it just Tallulah in Louisiana, or?
Terracon can probably give you the longer.
Yeah, I mean, we assist the city of Alexandria. They're on their second grant now. You know, a lot of these same examples that John provided are things that we've done for them before they accept maybe a tax delinquent property. We'll go in and do that, you know, assessment work for them so they understand what they're taking in on tax delinquency or, you know, properties like that. We also have a contract that we work with Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality with their grants for the targeted brownfield assessment. So they do have a grant program there, and they use us as a consultant. Also, we have a contract with the Jefferson Parish Economic Development Group, which I manage that contract as well, and we do these same things for them. That is a coalition grant that they received, I want to say 2 years ago. At the time, it was a lesser amount. Now the coalition grants are up to 1.5 million. And you know, we have quite a bit of experience in the state of Louisiana. Our company, you know, we have a grant writing division, and we provide it as a free service. If you're not familiar with Terracon, we do environmental consulting, geotechnical engineering, and construction materials testing. So, you know, when the economy is good and people are redeveloping, it's good for our company. So we like to see those federal dollars, you know, come into our backyard.
Sort of follow-up to that, throughout the process of working on a brownfields, you may discover certain smaller things that you can take care of more immediately through DEQ's Targeted Brownfields Program. For example, we worked down in Livingston Parish at the courthouse there to do some remediation there and transform some of that into a park, some of that into lower income housing, but also some private business as well. Worked what was it, in Jennings, Iowa, to remove some underground storage tanks. So along the way, if we can access or find funding, say again, for example, and the gas station is probably the best example of this, finding money for an underground storage tank is a way where we can fix a problem pretty quickly. We go after that money. And the idea is to put that property back into productive use as soon as possible. I've been working on brownfields, I mean, literally since about '01, and the EPA, in fact, had sent me literally all over the country to document hundreds and hundreds of brownfield sites. And so it's one of the reasons LMA, Louisiana Municipal Association, had asked me to work on this to promote it, because there was a time when Louisiana, to be fair, just wasn't getting enough of the money. And so we certainly are as or more competitive than, say, our northern neighbors in Arkansas or Oklahoma. And so this past year, Louisiana got roughly $6.2 million in brownfields money scattered all over the state. And so, as you know, having worked over here and working with you guys on a different project, I just started looking for new ways to bring additional funding to the community, as I said I would. And so this is something that I think DeSoto and the Mansfield, South Mansfield, would benefit a great deal from. And starting the process sooner it gives us plenty of time to do what we need to do, and then constantly update you guys. And 6 months from now, if you come back and you say we'd rather just not do it, we just move on and do something else. I mean, we don't have to do it, and that's the nature of a voluntary program. But there would be no cost, no commitment, no nothing on your side of it that keeps us, once you give us the green light to go ahead with this, we can start working with you guys on this.
If I could add, I think, and I apologize for coming like very embarrassing. John did mention this is a no-match program. It's 100% no match, no cost to you guys in terms, not referencing the services that Terracon would provide, but EPA requires no match currently, and that's due to, in part, by the bipartisan infrastructure bill. So there's a lot more money out there now that's available. And back to the success rate that John mentioned earlier, last cycle we saw almost an 85% success rate for coalition grants. That's in lieu of about a 30% success rate for a non-coalition, like if, let's just say, the city of Mansfield applied for one, you have almost a 3 times better odd of going after a coalition grant, and 3 times as much, money as you could get as well.
So I understand the motivation of you being here representing LMA, if I understand correctly. What is it for Terracon? They're a for-profit business, right?
That we are a for-profit business. We're 100% employee-owned. It is, we work on all sorts of redevelopment projects. I would attempt to win a contract with the coalition. If
To
they-
do the remediation?
to do the assessment work, yes. And I would also pursue any developers that may want to come into, we have a large national account program, and we share what's happening with, in our communities with our national accounts as well. And, they may want to, come in and redevelop a site as well. And we would see geotechnical dollars from that. We'd see construction materials dollars, things of that nature. So the more development that we see in our area, the more business we have.
And also too, probably to, just Kyle, to follow up on some of that too. LMA, we have no contractual obligations with any private companies such as Terracon. What we do have is recommendations from DEQ that here are the number of companies that have had a successful track record in brownfields. And so depending on where you are in the state, for example, over in the, say, Monroe area, it'd been more likely if we had reached out to, say, the company PPM, or in another part of the state, maybe Leaf. There's a whole series of these. Lim is literally 45 minutes north of here in Shreveport. So when we were looking for someone, it made sense for us to reach out to someone who could be closer to us and respond to what we needed here. But there's no contractual obligations whatsoever. The bidding, in fact, has to be a competitive bid process. And look, you may go through this and say, we've got such and such company that meets all the terms of the bid better, and you go with them. From the LMA's perspective on this, we just want to see the money coming back to the communities here and also cleaning up properties, putting them back in a productive use.
So, thank you for coming out there.
Well, thank you, guys. I appreciate your time.
Administrative item. On the administrative? Yes, sir. Okay. Good evening.
Hey, my name's Amanda Rains. I'm the Registrar of Voters for DeSoto Parish. Y'all all know me, I think. It was brought to my attention that number 7 on the administrative agenda, discuss districts and precincts prepared by the Registrar of Voters, was on the agenda tonight. And I wanted to address the jury in regards to this statement. This is an entirely false statement. The Registrar of Voters does not prepare any precinct or district at all, period, the end. In RS 18, let me get the code for you, 532.1, that duty is bestowed upon the police jury. I'm a little upset at this being worded on here, to be honest with you all. The duty of recommending polling locations was bestowed upon me by resolution by this body at your request. I'm not required to do that by law. When our current clerk of court, Jeremy Evans, once again proved that he was incapable and unwilling to perform the duties of his position, I was asked to pick up the slack in his absence of performing his duties. Again, I'm not required by law to do that. I offered to do that when I was asked in this room by the jury to take that on. That is the only input I had in any kind of redistricting or precincts. Was I was asked to recommend polling locations to this body. This body reviewed those and passed those. I do not do any of that. I purposefully do not provide any input with anything to do in redistricting. I don't care who is in whose district or precinct. I just want to make sure that anyone that is legally and lawfully eligible to vote gets to do so. And honestly, this feels like an attack on me and on my office, and it feels like a very thinly veiled and politically motivated attempt to intimidate me as an election official. I'm assuming, because I haven't heard the discussion, that you're not just putting that on here to pat me on the back and telling me I'm doing a good job. So I'm assuming that someone has an issue here with something that they're presenting as I've done, and I just wanted to put it on the record publicly that my office, me, myself as the registrar, has absolutely zero to do with naming and making precincts, boundaries. I have nothing to do with that, and that this is a very misleading piece of information to the public to put this on me as my body. So I'll stick around if y'all want me to and answer questions when it comes up to it.
We want you to.
Okay.
I want you to.
Yep.
Thank you. Minute. Administrative item.
All right, administrative items. Number 2, adopt the annual bridge certification resolution.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Haven't we done this already?
Every year.
Every year.
But I mean,
Recurring.
for this year.
No, sir.
We hadn't done it this year?
No, sir.
Okay.
Time flies.
It does, doesn't it?
You ask that
Any more discussion? Vote.
Come up a lot. All right, motion passed. Item number 3, accept the resignation of LaTarsha Shelton and appoint a member to the EMS board. So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. LaTasha Shelton came out of your district, Mr. Fuller. In all fairness, I think you need to do the appointment because you appointed her. So if they coming off, everybody in the past been getting appoint people that came out their district. But this will be one of your appointments. I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
You have anyone right now, Mr. Fuller, or you need time to?
Yeah, give me time, I appreciate it.
Do you want it for a regular meeting or defer it to committee?
Defer to committee.
She asked if you wanted to defer till the next regular meeting
Yes,
or
I'll-
to the
yes, that'll be
November.
fine. Yes,
Regular in
that'll be
November.
fine. Yes, sir.
November.
Somebody needs to make that motion.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to make that alternate motion.
Yeah, that's not alternate. We just accepting the resignation. of
We just
Ms. Shepherd.
accepting the
And
resignation.
appoint.
And
You
appoint.
said
Oh,
and
and
appoint.
appoint.
Somebody needs to make that motion.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Fuller. You gonna make that as a motion, Mr. Fuller?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Second.
November?
November.
All right. We have a motion to defer to the November meeting. Any discussion on that? Vote.
Yeah, they're not, they're nice.
And y'all can't say the
Split that
cookies
up
don't
like
work.
that.
I've changed the batch.
Yes, we see that.
Yes,
We see that.
All right, motion passed. Item number 4, authorize the parish administrator to sign the DEQ request for termination regarding the East Side Sewage Treatment Plant.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion, vote. Motion passed. Item number 5, accept the resignation of Michael Rister from the Waterworks District Number 1 and appoint a new member.
So move.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'd make an alternate motion to put that off to November till I can come up with a name, because that's from my district.
Second that motion.
I have an alternate motion to defer to next month's meeting. Any discussion on that? Vote. Motion passed. Item number 6, authorize the president to sign the amended cooperative endeavor agreement with the Village of South Mansfield for repairs to the water well number 1, amending the budget in the amount of $13,049.24. And this is Ms. Simpson's ARPA funds. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Fuller,
Oh, I can't.
and a second. Ms. Simpson,
Yes, I can. Okay.
any discussion? Not, vote.
Was it all up there? Y'all voted too soon.
Motion passed. Item number 7, discuss districts and precincts prepared by the Registrar of Voters.
So move.
Second.
All right, have
It's
a
for
motion, a
discussion.
second. To discuss.
Okay, this start discussing. I put this on the agenda and I did not say prepared by the Register of Voters. What I said was to discuss the district and precinct changes. And we do need to discuss them because I am finding many complaints, in particular in Grand Cane, some in the Keachai area, and a lot of them in Mansfield, about the precincts being changed, along with, if some mistakes was made in the districts. I understand we had redistricting, but it was some examples, particularly in Mr. Ross's and your district. Had a lot on which I brought it to the voters' registration attention that it was wrong. And it was quite a few voters, and I don't want this police jury to say they wasn't aware that none of this was going on, because as you recall, I told y'all when the blame come down, it was gonna come down amongst us jury. We was gonna get the blame. I proved my point tonight. Who getting the blame? It was the juries that voted to do the precincts, and we didn't make the change. We didn't prepare the books. We didn't. Y'all voted, because I voted against it. Y'all voted to change these precincts. You also voted for being able to do the redistricting. So yes, we need to discuss it, because we do have a lot of complaints that either something wrong in their districts, or they fussing about them precincts. And I told y'all we do this in a major election. This what was gonna happen. I told y'all that. We was gonna have this. And these people confused. And a lot of them is real teed off. Some of them complaining about filing something saying it's voter suppression. So yes, if I'm getting the complaints, I'm gonna bring it back to this jury, because I begged y'all not to do it, and y'all did it anyway. So Mr. Jones and Rodriguez can tell you, it was quite a few voters that was misplaced in their district. And what I'm understanding is they still misplaced. These people confused about where they vote, how they vote. Some of them, I got complaints even where we got this house in this district, the next house in another district. We got complaints. I even got one complaint in your area, Mr. Fuller, where the young lady says 3 of her people in her house in one district and the other 3 in another. So yes, I put this on the agenda, and I have no problem with discussing it.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Again, for the record, I'm Amanda Raines, the Registrar of Voters. The statements that were made tonight regarding the redistricting and the mistakes, that they didn't want anyone to be aware of it. I think everyone up here can confirm the fact that when we began making the changes that the jury passed, I asked all of you, because of the lawsuit that occurred, I had 7 days to implement the redistricting of over 18,000 voters. I asked every one of you to review the lists that you purchased, and if you see any errors, to please make me aware of those specific errors so we can research them, and so we can all work together to make sure that this process went off seamlessly so that there was not voter suppression. Ms. Burrell, you've brought me several specific people, and most of them, I think you can admit, at least 4 of the specific ones you called me about were not in the wrong district. The 4C and 6 switch, which I've spoken with both of the jurors and the other candidates in that district about. The demographer on the first Plan H labeled Precinct 9A as a section that had 248, if I'm not mistaken, voters in it. And on Plan H revised, labeled that as a part of Precinct 9 and labeled another area as 9A. And in his email to me, he said 9A should be merged into 59. He did not clarify that he had called a second place 9A. And so that was simply a miscommunication, and that was very easy to correct, and that has been corrected. Ms. Burrell, I also have asked you repeatedly that if you know of any specifics, which you say you have a lot of people who have contacted you, to please let me check into them so that we can, if you're aware of them and you know that there's an issue as a juror, I would think you would want to prevent this body from having a lawsuit brought against them, and you would try to research that with me and work as a person who is for the voters to make sure that they are coded correctly so they can vote in the district that they're supposed to vote in. I would think that you would want to do that instead of just keeping all that information to yourself so that you can claim that there's an issue later. I've asked repeatedly for you to give me the specifics, and you've given me a few, and the few that you've given me aside from the 248 in Precinct 9A were not in the wrong district. Mr. Holmes had several in the Longstreet area that we reviewed. I sat with the mayor of Longstreet and Mr. Mitchell, and we reviewed those. I have been very transparent about reviewing lists and trying to make sure. I'm not going to say that it's perfect, because statistically, doing 18,000 plus voters, you're going to have, when you have 2 people who, I will also point out, I asked for another employee last year because I don't have enough help, and you guys rejected that. And so, again, if you want me to do the job that I can do the best that I can do it, we have to all work together instead of trying to undermine each other. I'm happy to accept any mistakes that I make, and I've always been transparent about them. And in fact, I have to document them and report them to the state anyways. So if you guys want to have those, they're public record in my office. I'm happy to provide them to you. You can review them anytime. If you want to do a public records request, there's some other procedures to that. But I'm happy to answer any questions or
yes,
anything
ma'am.
like that.
Miss Moore, now you saying that...
Miss who?
Amanda Moore, that's how...
No, I'm Raines. I'm sorry.
Amanda Raines.
I thought you were talking about someone else.
Oh, you forgot your maiden name.
No, that's not my maiden name. I thought you said Mark. I'm sorry.
No. But either way or the other, yes, I called you by several, but they wouldn't. They were. I can call those names out and tell you who they were, and they can come here and tell me that they were in the wrong district. The people I called you were, and then looking at those people, it's when we find out it was others that was in that same neighborhood that was in the wrong district. So don't come try to paint this picture like what I'm saying is an attack on you. It is, cause it's not. Now you got up here talking about an attack. You got right up here and attacked Jeremy Evans saying he incapable of doing his job. What that got to do with the
Ms. Burrell, I didn't say that. This
Yes,
body
you
said
did.
that.
You said that,
Okay.
Miss. You said that, Miss Rain. You got right up here and said Jeremy Evans was incapable of doing his job. So the jury asked you to do it. Yada yada yada.
It's in a resolution. In the minutes
and
of that.
I
Please
know
let me speak. Please don't talk over me.
Cut me off.
No,
I
ma'am.
let you speak.
You,
Mr. President.
yeah, I'm not going to be attacked here. I'm trying to do my job. I'm not.
But you're not going to attack me either. You're not going to sit up here and try to downgrade me.
I'll excuse myself. If anyone has any questions, y'all contact
Excuse
me.
yourself.
Thank you.
All right.
is. She know she,
Any more discussion on that?
did the same thing with the school board.
Mr. Jones?
No,
All right. All right, next item, number 8. Authorize the president to sign a cooperative endeavor agreement with the DeSoto Parish Bible Charity School for a one-time donation in the amount of $3,000 from ARPA funds. Ms. Trina Simpson.
So move.
Second. Motion
Second.
that was somewhere up there.
and a second. Any discussion on that?
Yes, I just want to add that this area, I think it's in Ms. Burrell's area, but the lady called and asked for a donation, and I was able to help, and so she reached out to me, and I just want that to be known that I did help. But this is, I think it's the KCS area.
Oh, I know. They called me before they called you. Because I did all my money into the sewer system.
I understand.
I told them I did not have any left.
And they reached out to
Possibly
me.
you might could help them because you were one of the jurors that had some left. So they called me and asked me, would it be okay if they contact you? And I told that's fine with me.
Okay.
Any more discussion on that? If not, vote.
Trina seems like she got a lot of money. Might need help me out.
I tell you what, let's table that. It's already accounted for the rest. I just try to help a few where it's needed. Don't
Aye,
mind
motion
helping.
passed. Item number 9, discuss and take action on the Brownsville grant application.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Oh, yes,
Oh,
you
this is
say,
the people that just
Ms.
finished.
Burrell?
Okay.
Mr.
I'm
Ross?
just trying, you say accept and take action on the application. They already got application? No, okay. I
No.
just wanted to make sure. Okay. But that's kind of weird, wrong too.
Any discussion?
I like to say, I
Mr.
know,
Jones?
I know this could probably benefit some of the areas in the city of Mansfield a lot. Mansfield being the parish seat, and it's pretty much an area that people come through a lot when they're going through the parish. There's some areas I think that they could really need the particular funds. If you look on right on Gibb Street, just west of the railroad tracks, that used to be an old fertilizer place, and it's old. I think they just recently just stopped operating out of it, but even then, it was pretty much torn down and raggedy. But now it's been abandoned, and really,
Yeah, the guy
Some-
died.
yeah, something can be done with that. But there's some other used to be some more
Lot of
businesses
places.
that we could use this particular.
Yeah, there's several places. One that just came to my mind was the old Louisiana Pacific plant on Highway 5 north of Logansport.
Yeah.
It's a big mess.
We're,
Would be a very good location for some industry to come in there.
we're one right outside that door. Come to my mind.
That came to my mind also.
Now, that
Right
need to be-
outside
Time you step
that
out the
door.
front door.
Somebody need
Right
to be
there.
bought and finished that.
All right, Mr. Kennington?
Are the 2024 guidelines released yet?
Last week.
Okay.
But I still have a question about it. I can't get a grasp on if we fix this particular business back up, and someone come in, okay, I want to buy that particular business. I want to open up that particular business. I'm still kind of gray about who they buy it from,
The owner.
The owner.
the owner. So we're gonna fix them up for an owner?
We wouldn't be fixing up, the grant would
The
be.
grant we're fixing it up
They-
for an
the
owner.
what do they call it? Terracon, or
Con.
They get the bid.
if they got the bid, they would do it. It's grant money that would come in to have the work done, but they would bid it out. So,
Yeah.
And if it
I understand what you're
open
saying.
back up as a
Leisure
store or gas station, I mean, it's
The way
tax
I-
revenue, coming back into the parish.
So piggybacking on what Mr. Jones, I think what I understand him asking, Walk me through that process. So I own a dilapidated gas station that I shut down 20 years ago.
Yeah, because you don't have the money to fix it up.
You're gonna, the parish is gonna have a grant, if we receive the grant. We're gonna bid it out, the parish is gonna bid it out to go rehabilitate the facility. Yes, sir, go ahead.
I thought first we would have to have a use for it, someone that's interested in it first.
Well, that's why I'm trying to gain understanding of
Yeah,
that.
I think so.
Trying to understand. Trying to understand.
Yeah.
The process on this, you know, and it's a good, the question is right on the money with this. The first part of this is the assessment of what you've got. Imagine like creating a catalog or an inventory of what you have. From that, a handful of those properties, depending on where they are, community need, your interest, would then go to the next part, and this is a separate grant for cleanup. To make sure people are understanding this, this project is, or grant monies, is not to reward a property owner if they contributed to the pollution. So if you have a specific polluted property, for it to be rehabilitated, cleaned up, you can't be the beneficiary of the funding. Okay? So this isn't one of these where I had a gas station, I ran it to the ground, I've been polluting the groundwater, I get it cleaned up, and now I've got a new business. The EPA, there's no way to do that. What it is for, say there's a corner property that had been a gas station, again, using that. You assess that, you give us a cleanup plan and a cost, and that is the next round of cleanup dollars. Now, if the parish and the two municipalities that are part of it say, yes, this is one of the properties that we really want to look at, and again, we looked at quite a bit of properties. I mean, it's really remarkable. Inside the city of Mansfield, South Mansfield, and throughout the parish, lots and lots of properties that should, at bare minimum, you should at least know what you've got so that you can move forward with it. Does that help some?
Not exactly. So, staying with the gas station theme, I own a gas station. I've neglected all my duties to the earth. It's dirty. In a separate situation, we approve this tonight and in 2 weeks, and we apply for the grant and we're granted the money. How do we go from, okay, we've applied for the grant, we have the money. How do we go from that to rehabilitating the property? Explain that process.
So in the assessment, you know, as a gas station owner, we'll stick with that. You know, it's perceived as though you've contaminated this property. You don't know how badly, you don't know how expensive it's going to be to clean it up.
Right.
That's what you get out of this grant. You get the assessment work done, and then I tell you, hey, it's going to be $280,000 to clean up this property.
So you do a phase 1 or phase 2?
Phase 1 and a phase 2, and then we put a cleanup plan. There's also monies in it for reuse, you know, to where we could do a study with the same money to determine what would best benefit the community there. And the cleanup plan is ultimately the goal there. And then if the property owner says, oh, well, you know, that's great, now I know I can, you know, this guy that has been talking to me about redeveloping my property, I can say, yeah, it's going to cost an extra $250,000 to clean it up. And then he can either choose to clean it up, redevelop, or pass. And at some point, it's going to make sense for them to donate the property over to, say, the parish or the city of Mansfield. And then the city could get those cleanup dollars, clean it up themselves, and then turn the property around and redevelop it at that point.
So this grant that y'all are proposing tonight is just for phase 1, phase 2 assessment?
And some planning. You can do some planning as well, where you get some market analysis.
So no
done, things like
ownership
that.
happens with what we do tonight? No ownership changes?
I see a lot of ownership changes with the assessment grants. It's very common that you have properties that are either being actively donated to you or tax delinquent that you would like to take ownership of. I think a prime example would be the city of Alexandria. They own 3 parcels. They want to move a bus station over there. There's a dirty dry cleaner right in the middle of it, and everybody knows it's dirty. The dry cleaner owner cannot clean the property up. They've donated this to the city, and the city is having it paid up fully, cleaned up fully with brownfield funds. The idea is not to get a one and done, here's your $1 million and that's it. The idea is to use the program to take sites through assessment, through cleanup, and put back into use.
So we have to bid every time we do a phase 1 or phase 2 study? If we get the grant, we would have to bid that out each time?
No, what you would end up having a consultant, a qualified environmental professional that you would need to retain through your typical solicitation process. I would, obviously I would be a consultant
Right.
that would pursue that, so would several of the others that John named. That individual would help implement your grant. So you would basically just issue them work orders for different sites that come up through the grant implementation process.
And if I'm a neglectful landowner and you come and you assess that my property is bad, and you do your phase 1, phase 2, that's with or without the permission of the landowner?
That is with the permission of the landowner.
Okay. So if you find that my tanks are corroded and rusted and leaking or whatever, does that mean DEQ and everybody else is going to have a field day in our parish?
Not necessarily. Actually, a lot of landowners don't want to know. That's a great question. I mean, I get it every day. So
I mean, you typically invite them in.
Well, the EPA, the reports are public. There's no correspondence with DEQ and EPA
Right.
on that note. There's a legal obligation to report to DEQ as the landowner. But if you're not aware of the findings of the report, then you have no legal obligation. You don't have anything to report. Typically I see that quite a bit with property owners where they're like, come assess, but I don't want to know, the outcome of it. Unless it's good, then they're all about it. But so that is one of the bigger challenges is getting property owners to come to the table. To be frank, more often than not, we are assessing properties owned by cities and parishes already. So, those properties, if they obtained them through tax delinquency or eminent domain or things of that nature, they're eligible for assessment dollars. So, a lot of the money would go towards properties that the parish already owns or that the cities already own.
One sort of other benefit to this, oftentimes you may run into a situation where somebody had wanted to donate a parcel of land to either the parish or the city. Well, you don't know what's on it. And so having a phase 1, phase 2, there is a level of certainty so that you don't accept a property that comes with a huge liability. And so what we recommend always is there's really no risk to the parish in terms of doing the assessment piece of it, so you at least know what you have before you accept it. And whether you go through this program or not, prior to accepting any parcel of land, you should do a phase 1, phase 2 assessment. I mean, always. I've worked with communities throughout the Gulf South, and one of my former students, who was the mayor of a town in Alabama, accepted property from a prominent family, and the property turned out to be very polluted. The cleanup costs were greater than the value of the property. That's one of the things of certainty that you get by going through a program like this. At bare minimum, someone comes and says, well, we have a property at X street in Y zone, and you say, yes, and our consultant said it would cost $30,000 to clean up, so add that to the cost of the property. Well, if I'm a land developer, I now have a measure of certainty, or I simply look for something else. But in either case, you're armed with more information than what you've got now.
Steve, I got a question.
Okay, yes,
You said that our grant writer would be involved?
I would say the grant writer would be involved, but the type of special,
Percentage of the time?
very little, to be quite honest, on this front side of it, because we will keep him obviously informed and part of it, but Brownfields is a very specialized grant writing. There are probably, I wouldn't say 4 or 5 municipal grant writers in the state capable of writing a Brownfields grant. It's one of the reasons we rely heavily on outside
About
consultants.
the backside?
Say again?
The backside, if it,
They can, there's certainly a role, and there's money available for any type of compliance or reporting.
okay. That was my
And
question, 'cause we have to pay
there,
the grant.
there's no ask on the front or the back side that's not compensated in some capacity. Yeah. Otherwise, it's not a gift. If I come in and say, you've got to spend $50,000 on the back side of this for compliance, that's not even a favor.
Mr. Chairman, can I add,
Oh, yes.
make a
Mr. Gordon.
suggestion. If the jury decides to make a motion on this, I would suggest y'all make your motion to state something like, authorize the president to sign an agreement with the Terracon for the Brownfields Grant Writing Service for the assessment grant. That way, we're identifying the assessment grant only tonight.
What is the typical phase one, phase two assessment price tag?
A phase one is typically somewhere between $2,500 and $4,000. Phase two, we talked about this fertilizer plant, that might be 30, 40,000 versus a corner gas station might be 15, 20.
I'm just curious to see how many numbers of properties we could do. If the grant's $1.5 million, right? The max?
You could probably, 45 phase ones and half as many phase twos. And it is
Anybody
over
else?
a number of years as well, so.
Mr. Jones again?
Probably gonna be my final question I'm gonna ask you guys. But this is based pretty much on commercial property, right? Where do you go and how can you apply for something, or is there something that you can apply for, I guess, private property, so to speak? And let me, I'm sorry? Right, residential property that has been abandoned, grandma, everyone has passed, no kids around to keep it up, so they've moved on, and nobody's keeping it up, and it's just growing in the neighborhood. Is there such a grant for that you might get, apply for and use to clean up?
Yeah, some of those, because driving around, we saw quite a few houses
Right.
that were clearly abandoned.
Right.
That have become either a nuisance.
Right.
Or, to be quite fair, they're an endangerment
Right.
to their neighbors. There's some money through some fire districts that we've used before, where you can sort of, as they say, checkerboard it on a street to get this house, this house, this house. The typically just demolition contracts for those. They're not going to have a ton of usage. What I would say on those types of things, be very careful of this, is that in some of the older houses, what you may find, if you tested, you may find some asbestos.
Right.
Yeah, in the tiling or in the
On the
glue
floor.
or in the windows or in any type of insulation.
Right.
Certainly, you're going to find lead paint. That's less of an issue, but you want a certified person to do this, not just somebody who has a truck and a chain. So this is you want to do it and do it right.
Right. Was there any money any funds out there that you can apply for a parish or city or someone to?
Yeah, there's
have
some.
that
Yeah,
done?
I don't know exactly where it comes from. I know a couple of municipalities that I work with get money annually to fight residential blight.
Right.
I don't think it's a lot. I think, I know City of Alexandria gets $50,000 or $75,000 a year, which barely scratches the surface to their blight problem they have there, but that comes through the community development. I could find out. and
Okay.
get back to you.
One thing we could do is we can look at, between the two of us, we can look at it and provide Brian, the grant writer, give him some ideas on where to go for
Great.
some of that sources.
Right. That'd be awesome.
But again, even though it's a small amount of money, you got to start somewhere.
Right.
And if you tackle 4 or 5 houses a year, well, you can transform a whole neighborhood.
Right.
Very quickly.
Exactly.
I think HUD does have
Yes.
quite a few programs, for not just, demolition, but also for lead remediation and things like that too. The lead reduction program, there's a lot of money in that as well that, that they have that's readily available.
Okay, great. That enhances that. When houses are like that, people are not very well gonna come to that particular neighborhood or move in. It hurts your population and it essentially hurts your tax base.
Oh, yeah, it's a safety hazard for sure.
Right.
And I won't get into the details, but LDEQ is changing their regulations regarding public hazard, demolitions like that to make it easier to go through the process and cheaper to demolish the properties.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any more discussion or anything else?
I'd like to make an alternate motion, or make a motion that we consider this, but defer it to continue researching it. Maybe we can bring it up as old business 1st of November. I don't know about you guys, I just got my packet Saturday, and so I read it over the weekend, but I'd like some more time to just research it, check with some of the other places that do business with these guys. I'd hate to just jump in, as Miss Jerry's usually an advocate of. We always just jump into something. I'd hate to do that, so I propose that we strongly consider their
Proposal, right.
proposal, but allow us a little more time to look into it.
For something free.
Nothing's free.
Got a second?
I have a motion to second.
I second.
Second by Mr. Jones to defer for a month.
Hey, Mr. Brown got some.
But I don't want,
Good.
There is a deadline for
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah, there's a deadline on this thing.
That's the reason we brought it such short notice for tonight.
oh, well, that's.
Government's not taking grant applications right now, though, correct?
It's due November.
Yeah, the grants are due November 13th.
We need to get on.
So I withdraw my second.
Thank you. Yeah, let's get it over with.
Good with me. Somebody's got to make another motion.
Vote on this
The
one.
other motion was already on
The
the floor.
motion was already there. Discuss and take action on
There is
It was
Brown.
already on the floor. That's how we got into discussion.
There is no motion. It says discuss and take action.
Take action,
Yeah.
okay.
What are you going to take? What action you taking?
You voted to do it.
Which somebody's got to make,
We never
state that
carried that
motion.
out then. Let's carry it out. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Well,
We never.
We're gonna vote on this alternate motion first. If it fails, we'll go back.
Vote on it.
If it fail, I withdrew my second.
Last month, we had to vote on it.
Well, the
He
withdrew his second.
I withdrew my second.
You withdrew?
Yeah.
You have no alternate
Have no more
motion.
So somebody's got to make something, right?
Well, I'll make a
So-
motion,
Make it.
if you want me to make a motion.
Yes, sir. Make a
I'll
motion.
make the motion to what Mike just said would be my motion.
And I second. And I second.
Yep, I second.
No, we don't.
Oh, yeah.
You want, oh, well,
There's an agreement.
Jody has it on the screen for y'all.
That's my motion.
Jerry, second.
second.
Mr. Fuller seconded.
It's full of second. We got a lot of seconds. We got a lot of seconds.
Mr. Rowe.
Next motion passed. Item number 10, authorize the president to sign a cooperative endeavor agreement with the DeSoto Parish Sheriff for a litter abatement crew.
So move.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
I wanted to bring it to the jury's attention that the funding in this, part of this is going to be paid for through the sheriff's office. The sheriff and I worked on this last week. We applied for a grant through the lieutenant governor's office for approximately $50,000. So essentially, the first $50,000 will be paid for by the sheriff's department through that grant. And that's an annual grant that we renew each year, so just to let y'all know.
It was needed.
And how much you gonna cost us?
The total CEA is 104,000. That's the standard rate for one crew out there and with all equipment. So it'll cost us approximately 54,000 per year.
That 104,000, that's at the rate right now of the salary of the deputy that's gonna be over this crew with all his benefits and everything. But it is subject to go up. If they get a raise or anything, then our costs will go up with his rate.
From what I've been told by the sheriff's office, that's similar to when y'all approve funding in a position for us. That's the top tier, what they make. So I don't anticipate, if that changes, they would let us know in advance of what that change is going to be. So if it goes up a couple $1,000s, they would need to give us advance notice to amend our CEA. Mr. Parker.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So the litter abatement crew, is this a parish?
Yes, it's parish-wide. And that crew's only duty is to pick up garbage
That
on
was
our
gonna be
parish
my
roads.
next question.
Yes.
Not, oh, we need them to go do something else. They're
No,
strictly.
no, this is strictly for litter abatement. That's the
Okay.
that's the stipulation of even the grant.
Okay.
It's one man takes out inmates. One man takes out
Yeah,
inmates.
but I just wanna make sure that's all they do.
Yeah.
Any more, Mr. Parker?
Well, it seems to me that if we do vote this in, we're already paying the deputies to enforce the litter law. If they would enforce the litter law, we wouldn't have to be picking stuff up. How many people do you know of or heard of that's gotten a ticket for litter in DeSoto Parish?
I know one.
Yeah.
And it's not the sheriff's office that enforces that. Surprisingly, I learned last year it's Wildlife and Fisheries.
We're already paying to have it done.
You got one?
My neighbor.
Any more discussion? If not, vote.
Yeah, it's a lot of litter. A lot of trash, and you can be able to give everybody, catch everybody.
Carol and Mr. Baker.
You know, Mr. Chair, while we're waiting on the vote,
Yes.
you know, there's a whole lot go into if you want to get someone a ticket for a litter. It's just not going out. Pretty much, you know, we went to a seminar they had in, was it Bossier City? Bossier City.
Bossier City.
Right. And we really need to look at implementing that plan. But you almost had to take a picture of someone throwing paper out of a car or littering before you can give a ticket. You can't just, hey, look, I saw the guy's going to throwing paper out, you know, and very seldom cops will be around when someone's throwing a paper out. I know when some people throw it out, they look around and see there's a cop around. But it's a little more than just giving, there's more to it than giving a ticket for littering.
I think that program was through the Lieutenant Governor's office,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And they worked more so with the constables and the justices of the peaces.
Right.
And they pushed those people to enforce it.
Yeah.
And
we really need to try to look at getting that plan also.
yeah. All right, motion passed. Going on, item number 11, discuss and take action regarding the cooperative endeavor agreement signed with the town of Logansport for matching funds at the park.
So moved.
Ms. Burrell, I second. I put that on the agenda because of the fact that, you know, in 2019, the police jury voted to issue a $300,000 cooperative endeavor agreement with the town of Logansport to build a ballpark. And that was in 2019, and it's 4 years later, and so far, there's nothing to be shown for that, except that our $300,000 has been spent, most of which was spent to Doe Creek Well Service for doing dozer and backhoe work on that location. But basically, all that location's being used for is they're dumping dirt out of the Garrett Park, the new boat launch. They're taking it over there and dumping it. And in the past, we've been dumping trash, limbs, things of that nature on that site. And I just feel like through that cooperative endeavor agreement that the town signed with us, it specifically stated that we should get something of value out of that. And we have not gotten anything of value out of that. As far as I'm concerned, that's $300,000 that's been wasted. And I don't think the town of Logansport lived up to their agreement. And I feel like we need to see what kind of action we can take legally to get our $300,000 back. They were also issued another grant for $600 and something thousand from the state.
$650.
Huh?
$650.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's an awful lot of money that's gone to waste in the last 4 years, and they've got nothing to show for it. And I'll be willing to bet that that $1.3 million park that they were planning on building is gonna cost a lot more than $1.3 million today. So, I would like to go forward, see what we need to do, either write a letter and ask for our money back, or turn it over to our legal counsel and see what we need to do as far as getting our money back on that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I also read the corporate endeavor agreement. Can you point to one thing in there that they violated? The
I
corporate
can.
endeavor
I certainly can.
We have a legal attorney sitting right there.
The corporate endeavor agreement states, it states that we'll receive something of value in return for our obligation. In the case of the police jury, we're being supposed to receive recreational facilities such as playgrounds, sports fields, walking trails, etc., to the residents of DeSoto Parish. I don't see that we've received any of that.
Well, Mr. Holmes, they have, Logansport has not violated anything in this corporate endeavor agreement. They're still pursuing that. COVID hit, and everybody knows inflation has hit.
That's exactly what I said. They're not gonna get it built for $1.3 million.
They are downsizing, and when they get something to fit the money, you know, they're gonna build a park. Ms. McKay, the corporate endeavor agreement said that they're supposed to supply us with all expenditures, and that the money had to be spent in a certain amount of time. And where in there have they violated that? They got invoices for everything that they've spent. There's no violation in my eyes. They're still pursuing it.
Well, I wouldn't want to give any opinion until I've
Okay.
looked into the
Well,
facts
you do that, but
and
I'm
studied
giving my
this.
opinion. I can't see anywhere in there, you can't give yours now, but I can give mine. I read that. I'm no lawyer, but there's nothing in there that they have violated.
I mean, I think you would need to sit down and figure out where they are on these plans. I mean, I agree that this gives them it gives you some obligation at some point to provide those things, but the exact time frame and all that,
It's not mentioned in this corporate endeavor agreement.
not in my initial review. So, I mean, I would tend to, want to gather more facts before I rendered any type of opinion as to whether I think there's any violation of
Yeah,
this
well,
cooperative
I've got-
agreement or not.
Mr. Chairman, I've got one question for Mr. Brown, which was the administrator to do that. Is it uncommon for a project of this to proceed this way? That they use that upfront money to prepare for that? Is it uncommon? Okay.
Is it uncommon for them to not be doing any work whatsoever?
We have lived in strange times. We have projects ourselves that are over 15 years old right now that we still haven't wrapped up, in all honesty.
And we received money for them, and we're just sitting on?
Yes, sir. We've actually gotten money for some of these, billing along the way. Haven't been able to quite gotten it done yet. Pandemic really messed things up for local government. In fact, there's an article in the NACO magazine today that we got about how the employment's still not come back in local government. To try to make these things happen.
Well, I think we need to find out where they stand on this and if they're planning on going forward and what their time frame is at least.
You have a right to know that.
I think we have a right to know what our money's being used for. As of right now, our money's been spent. You know,
I just want to say, now, Mr. Holmes, I agree with you on this one, because when it happened, I'm the jury, I voted against it. I really did. I did, because it started with plans that we did for this whole parish. And it was some years that I complained about how much money Logansport got, and when I was trying to develop the parks and stuff up at Grand Cane, I could never get anything done. But they shipped all that money to Logansport. And you're right, ain't nothing never been done. Or if it hadn't been for me keep talking about it, this, what is the hoopla basketball thing? We put quite a bit of money into it too. And I did complain about Logansport was the only one got something out of those plans. But when I was trying to do something in Grand Cane that would benefit Grand Cane and the surrounding areas, Mansfield, Gloucester, that's what things should have been. but they rejected that. And I'm like you, I wanna know where the money at. Cause I'm certainly hadn't seen anything, and I was just in Logansport, and I went over there to check out Gary Park. But, I'm gonna have to agree with Mr. Holmes on this.
Well, you can see where the
one.
money went because you got the invoices here.
Mr. Holmes?
$250,000 to Doe Creek Well Service.
Mr. Chairman, everybody has that. They can see it was in their package.
That's right.
They can see that. But Logansport has not violated anything, in my opinion, in this CEA agreement. And Mr. Burrell, you might be right. Do you like,
No,
are you
I
gonna
ain't
go
never
fish, are you
agreed
gonna go
with-
fishing over there?
Yeah.
All right.
That's right.
But we also built a park in Mansfield. You said Mansfield doesn't get anything. You have a park over over there.
Well, let me rephrase it. District 4B hadn't been able to get anything. And them projects Mr. Brown talking about would be some of those that I hadn't been able to get. But yet, I'm like Mr. Holmes, we have this kind of money, and we don't know where, where they saying it went, but it didn't go on where it was intended to go on.
Yes, ma'am. it
That's
did-
for
it
sure.
did. Read the corporate endeavor agreement. That's the way they can use it. I'm through with my rebuttal.
Well, I really believe we need to have some answers, and we need to have a time frame or timeline and know what they're planning on doing. I mean, we gave them this money in good faith that something would get done.
Good faith.
And our taxpayers in Logansport and around the parish need to get something for their money. They don't need to be sitting there on $300,000 with no timeline or no plans whatsoever without us knowing about it. I feel like we need to know what's going to happen and tell when they're going to get started on it again and when their plans are to finish it.
Mr. Fuller wanted.
Yes, Mr. Fuller?
I want to ask the attorney, can you legally go back to a contract now and change that, add that word to it, that word into it?
I don't know, we couldn't modify the, written agreement with the town without consent of both parties.
Mr. Kennington?
I wasn't around when y'all negotiated this, but I did read it during y'all's discussion, and just a couple things pop out at me. Number one, most of the receipts for the expenses happened prior to the police jury cutting the check to the town of Logansport. We didn't cut the check till November 30th, and most of those receipts are dated prior to that for dirt work. Not all, but most of them. The other thing is on Article 2, it says the police jury in the town further find to determine that there is a reasonable expectation on the part of the police jury and the town receiving at least equivalent value in exchange for the expenditure of public funds by the police jury. And to me, all those receipts are picking up trash and leveling dirt. That doesn't seem to be equivalent value. But I'm not saying anything was done wrong. I'm just something for our legal counsel to look into, I guess, if she so chooses.
Well, according to the grant they got from the Louisiana Department of Culture and Recreation Tourism, the project cost was supposed to be $1.3 million. They were approved for a grant of $650,000, which they should have received after they got our money. They were dependent on our money to be able to get this money. Their project period that they told the state would be from 9/23/2019 to 8/31/2022. So they were allowing themselves about 2 years to do that project. And as I say, 4 years later, nothing's been done. Very little's been done. I'll say very little at a high cost.
And let me say this, because it was supposed to be matching funds. The town of Logansport was supposed to match whatever we gave. I remember that. But like I say, I was totally against it, in the first place, because I feel like that park should have been built in Grand Cane on neutral grounds. I mean, that's the center of this whole parish would have been up at that park at Grand Cane. That could have benefit this whole parish, because the plans was to build a large park up here and build smaller parks in Gloucester, Stonewall, Grand Cane, I think Mansfield. Either way, it's supposed to be smaller parks over the parish and one big large park, but it didn't happen like that. And like I say, we spent all that money on those plans, and did nothing manifest. And Logansport is the only one that really got anything out of those plans, cause they used the plans out of the plans that we had gotten together.
Mr.
I
Holmes,
remember.
I just got one more statement, please.
All right.
Originally, that $300,000 was for a new boat ramp, a floating pier in Logansport. If you go back and check the records, that's what it was originally for, to build that new pier. The jury had put money in a new pier over there, and it got washed away by the 100-year flood. Y'all remember when the big flood hit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That money was already allocated to Logansport. I came to the jury and had them transfer it over to a park that more people could benefit. Everybody doesn't fish, so the park was more feasible. That money was already allocated. It's not a new allocation. It was only switched from one item to the other.
Oh, no, Dwayne.
I know
Look
I'm
like
right.
To me, we
Get 'em to research
did that thing too. Look like we did the floating dock too.
No.
And the money.
It may have been money that was reallocated, but it's been money that's been wasted, irregardless of where it was started or where it ended. We've never seen anything from it. And I still think we need to get Mr. Norton to either get in touch with them, write him a letter, get with our legal counsel and see what we can do about it. We need to find out where the money is, if they still have any of this other money left or not, and what their plans are. Because I feel like the people of this parish and the town of Logansport and district down there, they deserve to get more than what they've gotten for their money.
Exactly.
Because they've gotten nothing for it.
And while we looking into
I got one more point to make.
All right, Mr. Mitchell?
And I'll make this point. Logansport has not violated the CEA. They're still pursuing.
Okay, I agree, they have not violated the CEA, but we need to put a little more bite in our CEAs. I can see that right now.
Yeah.
From this day forward, we need to expect something for our money,
Yes,
instead of just giving for nothing.
I agree with you, Mr. Holmes, but in my heart, I feel like the attorney's gonna come back and say they have not violated anything in the CEA.
Mr. Fuller again.
Mr. Fuller?
I'm gonna put a twist to it in a minute.
I'm gonna put a twist.
We spent I don't know how much money on stuff we ain't done nothing to. Done nothing with. We done invested in a whole bunch of plans. We ain't built nothing. Now, I'm not condoning what, like I say, I mean, I'm not saying they breaking the law or what, but, so let's just not go there like we're attacking Logansport right now. This police jury has spent a lot of money on stuff we don't have one thing to show for, but a receipt.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller.
Exactly.
So if we can go there, let's go there all the way around the board.
That's
So,
right. Not just Logansport.
That's it.
Well, I agree with that also. Let's make sure we're doing our money right too, but at least we're spending and wasting our own money. We're not giving it to someone else to do it. All right,
Motion to adjourn?
Been voted on that one.
now I'll make a alternate motion that we get Mr. Norton to get in contact with the town of Logansport and find out what's being done about the park.
Well,
And
just
let's get the ball rolling somewhere or another.
Add to your motion a plan of action. Let them.
Plan of action, that's correct. That's second,
Second.
all right?
To present a plan of action, what their plans are.
I mean, imagine, I know they ain't talking about these same parts. I'm thinking they talking about another part. That's the same part. They talking about the next one.
Between Sharon and Steve,
They the one supposed to be matching on. We can't. They supposed to be matching our phone. How they gonna come back and ask us what we
I did.
Mr. Ross?
Those tree branches.
Last couple of years.
Well, we do it about every 3 years.
Okay, we have a new motion up.
Sure, but it's pushed off-site. It's
All right,
not
we got the
anything-
alternate motion up to vote on.
Oh, quickly. Oh, Jesus.
Find out whether.
Cause I agree with that now.
Excuse me. Question.
Sir?
Are we doing this just for the town of Logansport, or are we doing this for everybody we do incorporate endeavor agreements with?
Well, it's for this CEA here for town of Logansport. A plan of action, what they got going on. Do we have other CEAs out that's,
Bring it to our attention.
I believe it should be, all of them.
That they claim.
If we got a CEA out with somebody, I mean,
But I
it
think
needs to
this
be
one-
with all of them.
If they're not,
That's my opinion.
using the money or going through with their plans.
Because it's the same
sure.
thing, if we giving money to them, and we still need to see receipt, we still
is
need to
what's
see,
on the table.
hold them accountable, so don't just target Logansport, target all of them.
No, but I'm thinking since it's just about,
Yep.
Yeah.
since it's just specifically Logan's.
I know, but they can change the
But we
motion to make it everybody else.
yeah,
Well,
we
Mr. Fuller.
we have to put that on the
about
agenda.
this now, cause he's saying matching for, this the problem I got with it, cause he's saying matching funds. Match who funds? Cause they was supposed to match our funds. What funds we finna match? They asking us for the funds to be given again? Logansport was, y'all need to read the whole thing.
Well,
Oh,
we got a
is
new,
This is the motion up here on the board there, Ms. Burrell.
I know.
Authorize the administrator to get a plan of action for the CEA with the town of Logansport.
Who are we missing?
They supposed to match our funds. I'm like him, they ain't did nothing.
Like I said, I have to take action with everybody.
That great. Well, I guess.
Three, he went to the bathroom.
All right.
Oh, that's it.
Motion.
All right, motion passed. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Airport and Animal Control Committee.
I know. No. Airport and Animal Control Committee called to order. Call for any additions or deletions. Guest and public comments. Airport and Animal Control items number 1. Authorize the president to sign a contract using option 1 or option 2 with Shreveport Bossier Sports Commission for the 2023 and/or 2024 balloons over DeSoto. Motion?
So move.
Second.
Okay.
Who made it?
Mr. Jones.
Who second?
I did.
Any comments?
Yes, ma'am, what this gonna consist of, Mr.?
This is just to continue with the balloons over DeSoto.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes.
Is Miss Jackie, there you are in the back, you hide.
Where's she at?
The last 2-year contract or agreement went fine? And I heard a lot of good comments about it.
It was, I think it was larger, it was more people, it's a bigger crowd too.
So you would recommend the 2-year again?
I think because people look forward to it. Any other questions? So let's-
I'd make a motion that we go with option 2,
Okay.
for the 2-year sponsorship agreement. I hate the word sponsorship, but we all know what it is. They give us balloons for the public in the room. They send balloons to us and promote our event, and we promote their event. The
Yes.
Red River, the one in Shreveport and Shreveport
Bossier.
Bossier Sports Commission. Yeah, without balloons, you don't really have much of an event.
Any other? Yes, sir.
Ms. Jackie, you had, we had a conversation, I think because after last, I talked about having them to fly the balloons. So could you tell us a little bit about the changes maybe coming up with the next one?
The people? The
No,
people?
you do it from your seat.
Did we get a second to your motion?
Because it's a new group, but they will fly from Red River Credit Union in Stonewall, so you all can look up in the morning and see that.
Oh, ooh. Okay, that's
They no
good.
longer fly into the airport, but you still will have your tether rides from the airport. You still will have the balloons to inflate at the airport.
Okay.
And they will have some mini balloons, so you'll see those fly as well, the new remote control mini balloons.
Oh,
I want to see some balloons fly, you know.
We'll sign you up, Mr. Jones.
I ain't gonna get
Oh,
in
no.
it.
We're required to furnish to about 20 volunteers. Do you have trouble getting volunteers?
No, the parish, thank goodness, the employees don't mind volunteering for it. People in the parish really love this event.
They do.
Yeah, and so they don't mind, I mean, we have a few volunteers that are in this room right now who volunteered.
Okay.
So,
Awesome, awesome.
It was well attended, well,
It was.
organized, well,
I thought the rain was gonna keep them away,
Yeah.
but it did.
yeah, but it was good.
I got a chance to see
Well,
one
Jura was at it, you know.
I thought he did. I made the motion. Did you second it, Mr. Jones, or?
Yeah, I seconded it.
Any other
I was waiting for it.
Okay, any other comments?
You'll be there.
Okay, please vote.
Mr. Mitchell.
Okay, item passed. Number 2, authorize the president to execute the fiscal year 2024, 2028 CIP resolution and approve the attached 5-year capital improvement plan.
So move.
Motion?
Second. Oh, I'm not on that.
Second.
Any questions or
Yeah.
comment?
Who's second?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions or comment? Okay, if none, please vote. Motion passed. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Okay, budget and finance?
Call the Budget and Finance Committee to order. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, any guest or public comments? Hearing none, budget and finance items. Number 1, amend the budget by $75,000 for the redistricting case.
So moved.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second for discussion.
Have a motion and a second, discussion.
75,000 for a redistricting case. Can, a little
That is
information?
for the lawsuit that
Yes,
was
sir.
filed against the police jury for the attorney's fees.
Okay.
Richard?
Why are we, paying for that? We won the case.
You didn't
We
win
we
the
have to pay the attorney.
Didn't win the
We have to pay
case.
that.
The
Well,
case is not over yet.
We have to pay, we have to pay our attorney.
It's not over with.
The case is not over with. Y'all prevailed on the preliminary injunction.
Yes, that was just the injunction.
This was a cost that was estimated, given to me by one of the principals of the legal firm that represents the jury.
Gotta pay
Additional
them.
cost for this year only. And we will probably be, we are going to put in the budget some estimated costs for next year as well.
Mike, while we vote, do you know what we've already spent on the,
Approximately 149,000.
so this'll put us a little over 200?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Please vote now.
In which it was projected for about that much. It was projected about that much in the beginning.
Oh, I just was. You know what they say about
Motion
a sinner?
passes. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We're adjourned.
Buildings and properties.
Call building and properties, meeting to order. Call for additions or deletions. I have one for discussion. I'd like to amend the agenda for building and properties, authorize the road department to upgrade the parking at 4-H building to accommodate horse trailers. I need a motion by the committee member. Motion by Mr. Fuller,
Second.
second by Mr. Kennington.
Will you explain what?
I will.
What roll-
Yeah, we just going in for discussion.
Roll call vote.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to do it, Mr. President? You want me to do it?
Roll call vote, who's on?
Building
Mr.
prop-
Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Fuller?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yeah.
Be item 3. Any guest and public comment on the Building Properties Committee and Recreation Committee?
Is Mr. Mike Jeter here?
Yes, sir.
Could you come up and explain why we's on guessing public comments, right?
I'm assuming that this is your request, Mr. Jeter?
I'm not sure what that is, sir.
Oh, to authorize the road department to upgrade the parking lot at 4-H building to accommodate. Okay.
That's what I'd like to
You
speak
sit
about.
right there and
Thank you.
go right ahead and introduce yourself.
Appreciate it. Thank you for the time for letting me speak. As I said, my name is Michael Jeter. I wanted to take a few minutes of your time this evening to speak a little bit about the 4-H barn in Grand Cane from a junior livestock perspective, right? Not necessarily 4-H or FFA, but just junior livestock events that we host here in the parish. The last 3 years, my wife and I, we have hosted an event there in the summer where, being a citizen of DeSoto Parish, I've paid the rent, I provided insurance, we've hosted the event for kids and community and people from all over the state, out of state, right? We've had a significant growth over the last 3 years. The first summer we did it, it's a 2-day event. We went from 150 youth animals to over 280 this past year. It's something that we're passionate about, we like to do. It brings people into the parish. Like I said, I live here. I want to see this place succeed just as any one of you on the jury. One thing we wanted to do as that event continues to grow, we wanted to expand on that. We wanted to host an event in the winter months. That way we just capitalize and we get more people involved and more people traveling into the area. Unfortunately, as we saw in this past summer's event, we're just about at capacity. We just can't grow any bigger there with that event because of the parking. The parking there, these exhibitors come in from all over the state. They come in from neighboring states. They travel. When they come, it's not a last-minute decision. It's a planned decision. They come with family. They come with siblings. They come with grandparents. They bring a lot of people into the area, into the parish, but they also come with a lot of big equipment. They have a lot of money tied up in these animals. It's very prestigious and very sought after. Some of the winnings that these kids do. For these kids, it's a way they pay their college tuition. They're also agricultural based. You know, they become our leaders, our next set of leaders. Just the way it is in the summer, it's not too bad because the ground is dry. You know, they utilize the grass and around the building, and it works. But for the winter months, so to speak, it's most likely going to be a little too wet, too soggy, and inconvenient for them to park these large vehicles, which kind of adds to the challenge of hosting an event here for the winter.
Got a question?
Yes, sir.
Is it multiple classes of animals or just one class?
In the summer, we do multiple species over 2 days. The winter event, we were looking at doing a single species of animal that would really expound over at least, I'm estimating 400 head in a one-day event.
And the part that you like to get rocked or gravel, which would be on the north side of the 4-H building?
Really, whatever's convenient for the jury and the property to make it appealing and applicable for the use. Like I said, they'll come in with these oversized vehicles and trailer equipment. They can average up to 70 feet long, and they've got hundreds of $1,000s tied up into them. They don't really want to drive into an unknown.
So your recommendation will be approximately what, an acre, 2 acres?
I think that should be sufficient, yes, sir?
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Who is it? I gotta get a little more clarification. Is this sanctioned by, it's not part of the 4-H?
No, it's not a part of,
Is who exactly? Is it like a jackpot? Is there
it is,
money?
it is.
It's a jackpot show.
It is. It is something that my wife and I host. We put on, we utilize sponsors, area businesses, from not just DeSoto, but all over the area. They provide the monies to put this on, and we give everything back into the program.
Yeah, I understand. It's not like I have a grandson that shows in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these events they go to, they had to pay to show. Do these people have
Yes,
to pay?
there is an entry fee. That's right,
Okay.
correct.
And so this is really like,
The kids pay to enter into the show.
and their money is
And
put
it-
in a pot.
And all their monies are put back into the program through prizes, awards. Absolutely. I think in this last summer, we give away, I want to say it was over $8,000 worth of prizes.
Okay, and it's a 2-day event?
And the summer event is, yes, sir.
What was the participation in your last one?
We
The number
had,
of people?
Friday, it's easier to go by animals because there's no real way to track people.
Well, that's true.
We don't charge an admission to get in. The building is used in an open concept. People come in and out because they utilize the outside space, the curtilage around the building to house their animals.
100, 200?
We had 150 animals on Friday night, and we had over 130 on Saturday.
That includes chickens and everything?
No, sir, that
No
was,
chickens?
no, sir, that was lambs, goats, and swine.
Okay. What, is the entry fee for the same for a lamb, goat, and swine?
It's the same.
What is that entry fee?
That entry fee, I want to say it was $30 last summer. Yes, sir, per animal. And then it's, I think a $25 entry fee for showmanship, which is a separate event for the kids. And Miss Charlotte Miller with the Tourism Bureau, she actually came both days and helped this past summer and got a full whirlwind of just what it is and how we do it, you know. It's something that we're really passionate about. We want to see it grow, and it can really help the area and the parish. I haven't been fortunate to get the hotel owners or managers on board to help me out so I can track, you know, occupancy. That's one thing that I have tried to do the last couple summers, but unfortunately haven't been able to get that help from the hotel management. I know, and I can't guarantee, but I had over a dozen families stay in local hotels this past summer, and I had other families that could not get a reservation. They slept in their vehicles.
Yeah, well, I understand where you're coming from, because you gotta park as close
That's right.
as possible. You're fooling with lambs, you got goats too?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my goodness, okay.
So we brought in people, we've brought in people as far as Jefferson Parish, Meridian, Mississippi, Paris, Texas, all the way over to Waco. So
You basically have a circuit that all these kids go to?
it's not necessarily a circuit. We do it independent of any circuits, but we really step up and make it a, like I said, a destination event. And it's only going to get bigger because that's just how I roll. And I would a lot rather, in talking with Miss Charlotte and some of the other people that are involved and help us out with that, there's something I wanted to do and keep it here, you know, at all cost, if possible. But if I can't, you know, that's just something we're going to continue to move forward with and just have to look for other alternative areas.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the committee?
Oh, I don't have a question, I just have a comment. First of all, I said, this is my district, and I would greatly appreciate it to know something about it before it's on the agenda. I don't be involved in any other discussion when it comes up there, and you all know, being aware that I've been planning for some years now to do projects at the 4-H, up by the 4-H building, the airport area, for something for all the people to be involved in. I have expressed many of times we need, and Mr. Holmes just said it earlier, It's time for us to start investing in all our citizens, not just a select few. Now, every time I say something about the 4-H building, I have to get a whole big flap behind it when I'm trying to do something right for all the people. Now, y'all just say we need $400,000 to fix the roof. We just gave them a grant. Just gave them the thing to get the grant. We been investing money up there, fixing the leaks, the this, the that, and every other meeting is something we got to invest more and more money into the 4-H building. What I'm saying is, how about the people that don't be involved in 4-H, that want to come up there? Really, honestly, that ballpark should be a complex. That should be a whole sports complex that everybody can participate, that we can rent out and let people come up there and have tournaments and ball and this and bring in revenue.
Ms. Burrell, that's stick to what's on the agenda, accommodate horse trailers.
Don't try me, Dwayne. Please don't.
Ms. Burrell?
Don't try me, Dwayne.
Burrell, your time has expired.
No, it hadn't.
Yes, it has.
No, it
You're
hadn't,
not
Dwayne.
on the committee, Ms. Burrell.
I still can express my opinion.
You have expressed
okay.
your opinion.
All right, I got you. I got you, Dwayne.
Ma'am.
You talked, you sat there and talked and said whatever you wanted to say. Nobody said nothing. Now I get to talking. Now it's a problem. That's cause I just voted against you, but it's all good.
Okay, Ms. Burrell. I need to let some other committee members talk, and
We're
I'll go
going
back to
on.
you.
It's all good, Dwayne, just like I
Go
say.
ahead.
Mr. Jeter, when's the next scheduled event?
We were actually looking at hosting one in toward the end of January of 2024 would be our next one.
So if you're asking for this to be done, you want it done by the end of January?
It's not pertinent. It would be beneficial. I have other alternatives set up in place. If this meeting and this opportunity weren't going to take place and the jury, elected not to do that, I have plans. But yes, it would be more conducive to keeping it in the parish for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, any other member of the committee? Ms. Burrell, do you have anything else to add?
No.
Okay.
Dwayne, Ms. Charlotte.
Ms. Charlotte? Yes, ma'am.
Was on the tourist board or whatever. This is a one thing, so.
Can you state your name?
Yes, I'm Charlotte Miller, the Tourist Bureau Director. Just started June 5th, but was on the board for 12 years before that. This product development has grown exponentially for 3 years. It's the only thing that I've seen grow like this and bring in people. We were hustling hotels Friday night, couldn't get them, calling Airbnbs all over the parish. But I want to say this, and Ms. Burrell, I do believe that the ballparks can be utilized a whole lot better. Our problem is hotels, and it's not only a DeSoto Parish problem. I went to a CV board meeting for the Louisiana Office of Tourism. St. Landry's having a problem. Lots of parishes are having a problem. But I have a chart that I haven't given out to y'all yet. Our tourism, compared to other parishes, it is saving $157 in taxes for every household in DeSoto Parish. And that's from the Louisiana Office of Tourism. So if we can grow tourism more and get people in hotels, our problem is our numbers are a little skewed because of the oil and gas. We can't get hotels, like he was saying, to block out, rooms and stuff. We can't get the hotel managers to do that. So, and I get that. They're gonna, when the money's there, they are gonna take it. Our problem is we need a hotel at the industrial park. And I think we have the numbers right now from a tourism point of view to get investors to look at the data that the Louisiana Office of Tourism has for us that I've seen. And I've only seen that last Wednesday. So I haven't, talked to people because I've got a lot of things going on, product development. But this product, and another thing, a compromise might be like the balloons over DeSoto, if you can park the trailers and shuttle people in. I know the animals can't be shuttled in, but could there be a way? I know they use the trailers for the animals to board, but if you could just make it go this year and then save the money,
the way the industry goes with these animals, and you know, Mr. Mitchell, you said your grandson is involved in it, so I'm sure you've seen that. The way the industry is a lot of these exhibitors, they utilize their trailers as their holding space. You know, it was brought up that, hey, can we park them at the airport? But it would not work unless there was enough adequate pen space in the barn, which there's not, to hold that many animals. So there's got to be, you know, there's always some trade-off, you know. A lot of these exhibitors are going to choose to operate off of their vehicles just because they have everything there. It's comfortable. These animals stress out and can
Wig out.
yeah, I mean, they can stress out and you know, that'd be the end of them. And they spent, you know, parents and grandparents spend a lot of money on these animals for these kids. So you want to do the best you can by giving them a conducive environment. Like I said, the building's not great, but we make it work. We do. We make it work because we want to keep it here in the parish, and we know that it's beneficial for the parish. Can we track every dollar spent? No, we've tried. Could we do a little bit better? That's what Ms. Charlotte's trying to help do here. But yeah, I mean, you know, if we're looking at doing this and continuously doing it year after year after year and growing it, the parking is one thing that we're going to, you know, that really needs to be improved for some of these vehicles.
And the washing stations, you're gonna have to add
yeah.
washing stations.
And the
pigs
animal-
and swine at one time.
And the animal hygiene stations, really, the wash equipment. It gets cumbersome. Like I said, we work with what we have, and we make the best out of it. But those are the facts of it.
So it's investing in the kids, really. And
Thank
I know, but I know, Miss Charlotte, I'm just saying, we need to start creating something for all the kids. And we wonder why they have nothing to do here in this parish. It's time for us to create something for our children, because then we wonder why they getting out of hand. Out of mind is the devil's workshop. When you don't give children nothing to be involved in, we got to do something more than just the 4-H kids. We got a whole parish of children.
So I'm just saying, this is a 3-year event that's grown.
Okay.
It's a grassroots movement that's,
Yeah.
that's proven.
We'll agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Mr. Fuller has a question, then we're gonna go back to.
Yes, sir.
I mean, don't we have a master plan already for up there?
Yes, we do.
Just that we look at, I mean, don't just make a decision tonight,
No.
because like, we hadn't looked at the master plan, but we already have, not against what you're saying.
No.
I don't wanna vote in haste on this decision tonight without looking at the master plan first.
Just for the record, the jury has not adopted a master plan. Y'all have a conceptual, but y'all never adopted a master plan.
Yes, we
We
did.
had a-
Yes, we did.
I'm telling you, I've looked, there's a conceptual master plan, but there's nothing official that was adopted because it was tied to some funding.
Well, that's what I'm talking
And
about. I know we did
y'all,
something
but y'all
about the master
chose,
plan, so that's what I'm talking about.
right. I just want to be clear that y'all have not adopted a
But
master
we need to
plan.
adopt it.
So that's why I knew we did something referring to the master plan. Thank you.
Ms. Kington, you had something? Okay. What's the pleasure of committee?
To go to item number 1.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Thank you for the time.
We need to adopt it.
Discuss acquiring the media center from the school board, item number 1.
No move for discussion.
Motion by Mr. Fuller.
Second.
Second.
She can't.
Not on the committee.
Yeah, we would have to have either Mr. Ernell or Mr. Kyle or Mr. Parker.
Okay.
Should have discussed acquiring?
Yes, discuss acquiring the media center from the school board.
And someone, Mr. Fuller made the motion?
I think so.
I made the motion.
I make second for
Motion by
discussion.
Mr. Fuller, second by Mr. Ernell. Discussion.
My question is, the city of Mansfield wanted. I know the mayor spoke about, the city was trying to get it, so I'm trying to see
Who put it on here?
pardon me?
Y'all had asked for it to be at the last meeting.
Okay. Hey, what now?
Y'all had asked for it to be deferred to this committee
Oh,
from the last.
If I recall correctly, the chairperson believed that this was an item last month that Ms. Burrell had put on the agenda, and because she was absent and had to leave, that you had deferred it. That's my recollection.
Put it back on since you weren't here.
what, the next thing, what are they asking for?
I don't know, my understanding,
Trading something, or we?
no, my understanding, from the chairperson's announcement last month was that it was an item that Ms. Burrell wanted placed on the agenda and that it was deferred to this month, because she was absent. So I don't know if that's correct or not, Ms. Burrell, but that
Yeah,
was the
that's
impression.
correct. It is. I mean, that was just the option that I wanted us to discuss is, the media center, for the main office, this main office. It has a lot of space up there, and I think it'll be excellent for this main office. I mean, they all crammed up. I hate to see them crammed up in these little offices and stuff. It'll be quicker to do it this way. Plus, I think we could do something to it to make it be acceptable for all the people that work in the main office. Because I would like to see the media center be the main office for the police. This just a suggestion. That's just a vision I had. And for these people to be able to come off and over here in this maintenance office into this building. I'm trying to get a solution that can be done quickly. And I wanted to discuss it just so Mr. Norton can go sit down with the superintendent and see if it's some, you know, how much they want for it, or
Trade something?
yeah, see what it'll take for us to remodel it, or I think it'd be better for us to remodel it than building a whole new building, but we need somewhere for this office to go. It has already have a police jury meeting room. I would have to say police jury. It has a nice meeting room over there. And then we have a warehouse. Being complained about having storage. They got a perfect storage facility over there that we can store plenty of documents and stuff. I just thought it was worth discussing and looking into about that media center.
I think, Mr. Martin, you could do that. I mean.
Yeah, I could make a request of,
talk to
I
the
mean, if
mayor.
y'all want to take some action, authorize me to, you know, discuss this with the school board superintendent, and we'll have to do an appraisal.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, didn't,
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Ernie, I missed you.
but, didn't the mayor, Thomas, said that they were looking into, or they had talked about buying it?
That's what Mr. Fuller said.
And I think they may even met with the, some of the school board members. We might need to find out what that is.
was after I had met with them, because I met with them too, before the mayor. And when I met with them again, that's when they told me the mayor was interested too. I had already consulted them, because I thought that was a great idea. So, you know.
What's the pleasure, committee?
I still like to look
No
into
action.
it, 'cause
It just said discuss.
we need that building.
Item 2, you have any more to add, anybody?
Did we say we was gonna have Mr.
Well, you
I
need to
mean,
make
he-
a motion.
Yeah. It says
For
discuss,
me
but
to
you
take
can make a
action.
motion for him to however
I
you-
moved that, I can't do it, I ain't on the committee.
The motion would be to,
I make a motion that we require, and if the city of Manfield don't get it, we'll, the city inquire about it, so.
just to inquire.
I said,
All in favor, say aye.
Vote, you're gonna vote?
I don't know if she has it on the board or not.
Aye.
You got it up there.
Got their motion?
I've got authorized the administrator to discuss options with the school board regarding the media center.
Discuss, yeah.
And then Mr. Arnell second that.
Yes.
On abstain. Due to a conflict of interest. I said I'm abstaining due to a conflict of interest. My son
okay.
works in the
Oh,
school board.
yeah, that's right.
All right, Item 2, discuss and take action regarding the Rosenwald Community Center and the old Pelican Library leases.
So moved. I don't know what it is, but
Motion by Mr. Kennington, second by Mr. Fuller. All in favor, say aye.
What action we gonna take?
No, we're discussing it now.
What action in the discussion we gonna take?
Okay.
Voting on it yet.
I'm going to give y'all some information that the treasurer and I've learned after we were looking at some of these leases. There was an issue. This is the way this came up. There's an issue at the Long Street Community Center where we had to go in and replace some equipment, a kitchen, fix some gas lines, other issues that we were called in to take care of. We pulled out the leases, and y'all have a 50-year lease with the school board to lease that property, which expires in 2041, okay? We then subleased it at the same time to another organization, which is the Long Street Rosenwall Community Center. The terms of the lease for the Rosenwall Community Center is they are the subleasee, and they're supposed to assume all obligations of the sublessor, which is us. So if auditors look at this lease, we will be written up for this because what we're currently doing is we're paying for all the utilities, we're doing all the repair work, we're maintaining these properties contrary to what the stipulations of the lease are. That's my concern. That's why this item was brought to y'all. I'm okay with making the change. I just can't make this change. If y'all want us to change the contents of the lease to where we are legally obligated to maintain it, this needs to be an action of the jury. Furthermore, that's just the Long Street Community Center. The one located in Grand Cane, which is, I believe
Holly?
Yes,
Yeah.
the Holly Center. We don't have any leases for that one, okay? We don't have I'm sure it exists. We've reached out to the school board. The school board doesn't have a copy of a 50-year lease with that one, but yet we've been maintaining it also. So I'm assuming there's a lease and sublease. We have no copies of that in our records. The school board has no copies of that. So now we have two locations for which we are paying all the utilities, doing all the maintenance. And when you start to replace roofs, install air conditioning systems, put new gas stoves in, replace kitchens, counters, that gets really expensive, which is going to be an action of the jury, which we'll need to take. So we need leases. I need y'all to authorize us to either, take action and obtain new leases with the school board and these community centers to do this, or not. And the last item on there is the Pelican Library lease. The jury, back in 2010, authorized us to do a deal with, I believe his name is with a company called Consor International, Raymond Youngblood Jr. The jury authorized a lease with him back in 2010 at your August 2010 meeting where you authorized us to sign this agreement. The subsequent month, in September, y'all rescinded that authorization for us not to sign this agreement. December of that month, y'all signed this agreement. So we have an agreement that's out there that was not authorized by the jury. Now this came up because we had someone contact us who wanted to lease that property. That lease we researched, we found the lease in our records showing where this gentleman was given this lease for no consideration. The jury's not getting any benefit off of this. We can't find anything, nothing's recorded at the clerk's office for this. So he's basically getting this facility for free, and it's jury property. So it's a liability to the jury. Now, this issue is raised because the woman who contacted us, I don't have her name, the finance may I have her name, wanted to lease this from us. Well, they were given this guy's contact information, and he wanted to charge her to lease this building. We told him he could not do that because it's jury property and it's not a stipulation of the lease that we currently have. So we need the jury to authorize us to take action on the Pelican Library lease because we need to go down there, assess what we have, clean it up, because this lease is not valid. I mean, our attorney can review that and let you know, but based on the motions that we have in the record, the actions that the jury took, and this was researched by finance and myself and the parish secretary, y'all did not authorize signing this lease, but it was signed. And for some reason, some sections were left blank. the section regarding consideration. What consideration? What it's
And
gonna
what year was
cost?
that?
2010. Yes, sir. So since 2010, this gentleman has been leasing, and it's a 20-year lease. So I don't see this lease being valid. I would defer to our legal counsel on that, but I can't find any recordation of this lease anywhere that that's authorized by the jury. So it's a mess. It's a big mess for these particular leases.
Mr. Norton, do those three buildings or entities that are leasing those buildings from us, do they provide us with insurance?
Yeah, we haven't seen anything, no, sir.
Question, Mr. You say you already talked to Mr. Youngblood?
No, I believe we've tried to reach out to him, but someone, he was out of the country.
yeah.
He's out of the country, so we have not heard from Mr. Youngblood.
And I don't think, no movement been in that building for probably about a year and a half.
I mean, it being a jury property, I think we're within our rights. Again, I'll defer to legal counsel. We're within our rights to go down there. If there are locks, we'll have to change the locks and clean it out so the jury can put it back into use. Because if someone wants to lease it out, use it, down there in Pelican,
Right.
I mean, I think they should be given the option to do that, so. So,
Mitchell?
I don't mind trying to redo a lease with the school board that's in conjunction with the current lease we have that would.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
our recommendation on redoing the lease of these facilities.
All of these facilities?
You can't.
I mean, to a certain extent, not to repair.
You can't. You're not on the committee.
Oh, well, that's what I'm asking him to recommend
I
to
got you.
him
I got you.
in his meeting.
I make that motion with Mr. Ross said.
I don't know.
What about the Pelican Library? Is that gonna be a separate motion?
That would be all.
What do you think, Mr. Chair? All same motion?
Yes.
What about the Pelican Library?
Yeah, all the same motion. Redoing the,
Obtain a lease on that?
yeah, redoing the lease?
Yeah. Do you want to redo them?
You want us to redo the lease with Mr. Youngblood?
No, not with him, just to redo the lease for anybody who wants it.
Okay, so y'all want to authorize us to make that?
Yes.
That,
Adjustments on the other two and.
okay.
I have a point of information. Since there's a motion, I can't discuss, but I can ask a point of information.
Yes, sir.
We have to have agreements with legal entities, correct? That are in good standing with the state?
There's numerous problems with these lease agreements, but yes, you should have some type of agreement that, the police jury is getting the benefit for. But yes, it should be a nonprofit, another government agency, things along those lines. It's usually done. Now, if you went and you bid out the lease and you decided that was, let's just say the Pelican location, let's just say there's multiple people that are interested in it for different reasons. I mean, you could offer that up to the highest bidder, and it wouldn't necessarily need to be along the cooperative endeavor type of kind of relationship that we think of, like a community center. But if you were gonna just lease out this Pelican thing to a private individual, you would go more along the bid route, I think, to try to get the highest bidder in the lease, and then
Continuing on that, do we know who are we leasing them to and what for? Do we know that information?
With the Pelican Library, we do know who the lease is to.
I mean, what
But the other
purpose?
two-
What's he doing in the building?
We have no idea. We don't have access to the building. We'd have to cut the lock to get in there just to see what's in there.
Nothing, I don't think they have power on.
What about the Long Street?
Yeah, the Long Street one is administered by the Long Street Rosenwald Community Center. They are a nonprofit, Community Service Incorporated. They are a nonprofit. The other one, I don't have their information available because we don't have a lease I've been told, I've been given some contact information, which I think finance has reached out to, but we'll have to determine.
Yeah, give it to
So-
Ms. Williams, Anthony Williams.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make an alternate motion that we, if they are rescindable, that we rescind all leases with the school board, which will allow these people that use the buildings to go to the school board and work out a lease agreement with them to use that property. There's no reason for us paying for all of this stuff that, for buildings that we have, the taxpayers that are giving us money get no benefit from. So I make an alternate motion that we terminate all three agreements with the school board and not renegotiate them, and advise them and assist them to go.
No. And let me back up, Mr. Chair. On the Pelican deal, I want to treat it as like Roswell, like a community center, not just to anybody. That's what I like to see the Pelican treated as the rest of them, as a community center.
Well, right now, there's an alternate motion that either needs a second or it dies.
Mr. Kennedy, would you
Lady out there gonna say
restate your motion?
Mr. Chair.
Would you restate your motion?
If he'll allow me to. He wants me to restate my motion, my alternate.
You made an alternate motion?
Hold on a second, so we're in discussion. Ms. Miller?
Motion did.
That motion died, you have to do another one. I don't know if you can make an alternate, so an alternate.
I got copies. I'm sorry, y'all. This just came out of the Lieutenant Governor's office today. So the Rosenwald, the two schools, there's something called the African American Trail that the Lieutenant Governor's office is starting to, I'm talking with Travis Whitfield, further down the road exhibit. Y'all have seen it before. And if we can put the two Rosenwald schools with the further down the road exhibit, it's very historical for the African-American community here. I would not give that up to the school board yet. I'm asking you not to give it up to the school board yet. I'm asking you to just keep control of it until we get this lined out. That's all I'm asking, until we get more information. The first meeting, Travis and I are going October the 11th to the first meeting in Shreveport about the African-American Trail. The sites have to be nominated, and even if they're on the trail, they have to be renominated every year. So it's something, a product development, I didn't bring it because I didn't have enough information. I just got the email today from the Lieutenant Governor's office. I'm asking you not to give it up to the school boards.
Mr. Chairman, couldn't the school board do the same thing we're doing? They want us to do too?
Well, tourism doesn't fall under the school board's jurisdiction. I work for you. My office works for you, not the school board.
I have no problem with that,
Right.
but I don't want Mr. Norton going and renegotiating leases on buildings that we don't know what we're doing with them
Sure,
yet.
I
is
understand
my
that.
only point.
Thank you, Michelle. I actually have to admit, I don't know what Robert Rules order says about an alternate to an alternate. So if somebody can tell me that.
There is no alternate
Throw them
right
all
now.
out, man.
Yeah, I know it.
Throw them all out.
Wanted to make an alternate to that.
No, I'm,
Okay.
Just make a motion.
What was your recommendation, Mr. Nutt? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
there's a motion on the floor now for Mr. Norton to go renegotiate contracts with the school board.
For the Rosenwald schools and,
You made an alternate, okay, so, yeah.
and a motion, I would recommend a motion to allow our office to basically take possession of the Pelican Library, go and take possession, clean it out, so we can.
I would think I would feel more comfortable before we go cutting locks and taking possession, to get a little more information about this lease agreement and maybe consider some type of, let me look at this lease a little bit and see what our process should be on that.
All schools in it.
So take no action on the Pelican Library. That's fine.
Wait for legal counsel's recommendation on action to be taken on the lease agreement at the Pelican Center is what my suggestion would be.
Okay.
I need a motion on that from somebody.
Need a motion.
Motion's already on the
Yeah. I need a second on that, please.
What's the motion?
To
What she
refer it
said.
to legal counsel. Bring it back up later.
I second.
Who made the motion?
Fuller.
Mr. Fuller.
All right.
You on that
Might not be
committee,
word
you
for word, but
quiet.
we got it.
Authorize the administrator
get away
to
from all
obtain new
these
leases with the
community
school
centers,
board
man.
regarding the
When the
Recreational
people
Community Center and authorize legal
put up
counsel
these
to look
community
into the
centers.
Pelican lease.
But then they don't take care of them.
Okay.
You fund them.
I mean, if he hasn't paid any.
That's different from what she just said. Go ahead.
No, that's not it.
Typed that fast, I was trying to get it up there.
That's the motion that's on the floor that has to be voted on.
Yeah.
We need to revisit this crap, man. Then we need to talk about need to get out of a business.
Y'all finna get in the bind. Attorney
Get out of
motion.
business, the community centers.
Y'all finna get in the bind. Mr. Jones.
Y'all got to vote on it. Down.
Mr. Chair, I just rather for the legal counsel look at everything.
Yeah.
We can't now, there's a motion on the floor. You have to vote on it.
Yeah.
Vote the motion down and make a new one.
They done voted.
You would have to vote it down.
That ain't
So
what
I
the
haven't voted yet.
motion
So
is.
what-
That's it, all three.
I just made them on the, now which one we going by? The one I just made or this what's on the
The
board?
one that's on the board is what,
I think she put the incorrect motion up there.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's incorrect.
I thought he
cause
was
the motion I just
Ms.
made was,
Fuller's motion was to refer it to the,
for the
refer,
Pelican lease.
no,
No.
third bit, all of it.
Okay.
the original motion was made to allow Mr. Norton to do what that said. Then I made an alternate motion. And then Mr.
It didn't get a second.
Chairman suggested,
And Ms. Fuller made a
so
motion to.
so my
refer it
alternate
to-
didn't get a second, so it died. It goes back to the original. We can't change the original again. You have to vote on the original, so
Vote
you'd
up
have
or
to
down.
vote that down.
you're right.
What's the motion?
What you had up there is the motion.
That was wrong motion.
No,
That's the correct legal motion, I'm pretty sure.
put it back up.
Okay,
But
just
you can
reset-
ask the attorney if you'd like.
Reset it, Joe.
Y'all really need to get out of here.
Are we gonna vote this down and refer it to them?
Because it was for him to do the new leases and then her to do Pelican.
Right, and you can't make two motions.
Put gas and put
And who
fix
seconded that?
roofs and put all that.
Mr. Arnell Jones.
That ain't our round, man.
And we're the ones running the fair.
Okay.
No, better vote that. I vote again. Gotta vote that time. I vote the same way I voted first time. There you go.
Okay.
Vote twice. Do a mail-in ballot. Now, I make a motion that we refer it to the council. Let them investigate it.
I'm not sure if you can do that either.
No.
You can't.
On to number
Really
3.
get out of
Yeah, we're
community
going
center
to number
business,
three.
man.
That issue's dead for right now.
Take care of it.
Huh?
Yeah.
We need to get out of the community center business.
Uh,
We gotta fix roofs, we gotta put in
we can get
furniture,
out
we
of
gotta put.
Item
That ain't
number
our-
3 is authorize the road department to look into the, and the administrator to, I don't have the verbiage of that exact thing.
Parking lot.
I know it's a parking lot, but. So I need a motion to let the road department and the administrator look at it, enlarging the parking lot with gravel at the 4-H building. That's the cost and bring us back.
Enlarging to how much acreage?
They would have to check with 4-H and
Okay.
he'd have to work with
Yeah,
4-H
correct,
and
correct.
Mr. Jeter. Yeah, you can take-
I made also the motion that we, look at the, that so-called master plan that we have first before we make a decision on,
Yep.
on
you
this.
sure
Well, he
did.
could, I guess he still can look at the price, look at the price, but
That's what
not
the
making a
motion would
decision
be.
after doing anything.
That's what the motion would be, to look into it, and look into the cost, and work with the 4-H and Mr. Jeter. You know, he can bring back a cost estimate, and that's what he's doing. Could I get a
Don't mean
motion
go
for that?
right about that.
Got it.
Ma'am?
So what's the,
The original motion is what stands, which Jody could read what we added to the agenda early on.
That's what I needed you to read back to me.
The original motion was authorize the road department to upgrade the parking at the 4-H building to accommodate horse trailers.
Read that one more time, Jody. You like us, we don't talk in the microphones and they can't hear us, and you don't talk in it, we can't hear you.
Authorize the road department to upgrade the parking at the 4-H building to accommodate horse trailers.
Yeah, there is some, the north end of that area, there's some serious drainage issues in there.
Yeah.
So we really need to look at that before we just go putting a bunch of gravel on that
Yeah, we
lot.
do.
I mean, yeah, I believe Steve's probably even got a hydraulic study done for that particular area to show you everything. So I would recommend y'all authorize parish administrator and the parish engineer to look at this.
I'll make an alternate motion.
Yes, sir.
I'll make an alternate motion that we authorize the engineering department to study enlarging the parking lot at the 4-H building, and we will add that in the budget for 2024 next month, when we start working on the budget,
Can I get a second on that?
if we desire to do it.
Yeah.
But this does include looking at the master plan first.
Well, sure. I mean, they're gonna look at it.
We can email you copies of the conceptual master plan that y'all had drafted years ago. If you'd like.
Got a second?
No second, the motion dies, somebody can refer it to budget, since everybody can't get together on what they wanna do.
Well, I mean, you just waiting on a second.
I did wait on a
Okay.
second. For
I
a
second
minute.
the plan, man.
Motion to adjourn?
Mr. Jones, second.
It's already,
Yeah, I
it
think
was
already did.
announced, it was dead.
Yeah, we'll move on.
So it can't be brought up for 90 days now.
Yeah.
All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Personnel committee called to order. Is there any addition or deletion to the agenda? Any guests or public comments? Personnel items, discuss administrative duties. I hear a motion
Just for the.
You don't need it for discussion.
for discussion. Okay, I put that on the agenda, y'all, because it's just some issues that I feel us as jurors should have known, and we had no idea, and I don't wanna get stuff from the street committee. I gonna have to hear about these issues, cause this is embarrassing to me, when the street asking me, Miss Red, did you hear about the shooting at the landfill? Miss Red, one of y'all employees is in a bad wreck. I'm just asking you, Mr. North, inform us. We need to be kept in the loop. We should know everything going on with this police jury. We should know.
Could I ask why, Ms. Burrell, can I ask you a question? Why are you not doing this in executive session? Why have you chose not to ask these questions with an executive session?
Cause I have a hard time getting one.
Okay,
When I ask for
you've
executive
never,
session-
you've never asked for an executive session on me in this regards. I would have no issue with it to discuss an executive session because I feel like I'm being targeted.
Oh, I'm so tired of hearing about talking. If I have concern about the
Because
taxes-
I will
Well-
gladly discuss this in public, what you're talking about, each and every one of those incidences. I'll gladly go over that with you if you would like. And I don't mind doing it right here on the record. The shooting at the landfill. Let's discuss that. Shooting implies an exchange of gunfire between two people. There was no shooting at the landfill. A sheriff's deputy accidentally discharged his firearm, struck himself in his hand and his leg. It did not interfere with the operations of the jury at all. We didn't shut down. We didn't lose a single minute of time out there. The EMS they were sent out there along with the sheriff's deputies. That's a sheriff's issue. That's not a jury issue.
It's that you was at one of our facilities, and we would appreciate it to know that it happened, Mr. Norton. We should know when things like that happening. And if that's happening on our property that we are responsible for, we're responsible for our
My
property.
point is, you are hearing from a street committee. You didn't call and ask me about that. You didn't call and I'm assuming you didn't call and ask the sheriff's department because it was the sheriff's deputy at the
No, but I
landfill.
did call you, just say you was out of place, but I called, when I heard the message, I called and asked. had that taken place. That's
Again-
the same thing, Mr. Norton, like I said,
But-
it's incidents and issues that I feel the jury should know. Do a mass text, inform us, we should know things. I didn't know nothing had happened at the sheriff's department until I came to the meeting, but we didn't know that, and that had taken place hours.
And are you referring to the fentanyl spill?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that report was
That's
given,
one of our
that
facilities,
report
and we should know.
was put out by KTBS 2 hours before I gave my administrator's report to the jury. And I have enough items to discuss with the jury. I didn't feel like I need to go into a sheriff's operational issue just because he's in one of our buildings.
That's how you feel. Well, I'm telling you. Huh? Yeah, you
No,
can.
we as jurors, this is what we're asking for, whether you think it or not.
But I would like the benefit of having an executive session when you're calling into
That's what I'm
question
saying,
my
Mr. North.
duties.
Yes,
Like I said, we do receive calls from people, and it is embarrassing. I didn't know anything about that. All you have to do is a phone call, text message, just inform us that such and such has happened. That's all we're asking. That's not complicated. That's not hard. And it's not like if we're asking for a HIPAA or anything, that kind of stuff. We're just asking to be informed when things happen. If you can't do that, we're gonna have to look at something else different. And you can take that the way you want to take it. So I'm just saying, if you don't want to do what the jurors asked to do, now that's different.
So at what level do I not report information to you? But you understand, the street committee puts information out that's not accurate. They put out when I proposed a policy on the vacation, on changing overtime and vacation hour, the vacation policy last year, I was accused of trying to eliminate the double time and a half to employees. That came out of the street committee, and it got all the way into this jury room, and I was accused and asked and questioned about that. Now, I take issue when anybody off the street can call one of y'all, and y'all don't pick up the phone and call me,
Let me say this, Mr. North.
even
The
before
street
I
committee,
know
they're
about
our
those
bosses.
issues.
Exactly.
They're our bosses. You may not understand that, but they're our bosses.
I do understand
So they
that,
have concerns, they
because
call us about these concerns.
I understand
We
that.
don't right to address you about
But-
these concerns.
But this should be done in executive
I'm-
session.
I'm sorry, let me please weigh in here. Let me weigh in here. If there are any type of accusations or discussions concerning alleged character, professional competence, or mental or physical health of a person, those persons supposed to be provided notice 24 hours in advance in writing. Saturday, Sunday, and legal holidays excluded. That particular person who is subject of the discussion can then decide whether to have it in an open meeting or executive session. That's according to revised statute 4217. I've heard conflicting things from the parish administrator. He said he wanted to discuss this. Then he's also said that he wanted to have an executive session, but the law does require 24 hours written notice prior to any meetings if there are going to be discussions of character or professional competence. So to the extent that we get down that road much further, I think that the proper way to do it is to give notice in writing 24 hours in advance.
Well,
Now, I recommendation, a point of order to adjourn Personnel Committee. And if you want to discuss, you can discuss it more. Let's just go into executive session.
okay, yeah, I'm just putting it like this.
Yeah, put it on the agenda.
And when this is supposed
Whenever
to
you,
take place?
whenever you like.
I have a question, Ms. Ross. Okay, what legal reason it has to go to executive session when you have to say somebody, a firearm was shot at the landfill?
Well, there's criticism involved.
Sir?
Criticism involved towards that person.
You're not
We're
calling the
not
name.
You're not
calling the name.
We didn't criticize nobody.
So
We
that's
just
not
said we'd
illegal.
like
You're
to
not
be
ca-
informed.
But
You're not calling the name.
as legal counsel just stated, it's against the law to do those things, and we need to go in.
Ms. McKay, if you don't call a name, is that illegal?
If he just,
Mr.
I'm just trying to get clarity. If he make a phone call saying, Mr. Fuller, there was a firearm that went off at the police jury office, is that illegal for him to do that?
Is it illegal for someone to call you and?
Mr. Norton called me and said a firearm went off at the police jury office.
No,
Okay,
Ms.
so that's
Ms.
all. Thank you, Ms.
Burrell,
Rowe.
as I appreciate it, Ms. Burrell was questioning his job performance in terms of an administrative duty to notify her. And so that seemed like the appropriate way to get the issue before the police jury. I'm not trying to deny anybody the right to do it. There's a legal process, and as your legal counsel, it's my job to give you information about what I believe the appropriate legal process is, and that is 24 hours written notice of your concerns, and then the person, whether an employee, a police juror, somebody on one of your committees, the statute just says person shall be given 24 hours written notice, and that person has the opportunity to elect to do it in open session or executive session. So I believe that there was not a general discussion of, we would like to be given more information, thank you. I think that would have not called for an executive session. We were getting down pretty far the road before I said anything, and it seemed to me that the appropriate compliance mechanism would be to give written notice, and then the person has the option to go open or executive.
So the administrator gives a report, his administrative report.
Exactly.
We can't discuss, come on, y'all, for real.
Ms. Burrell. The second duty and responsibility on the sheet where we advertised his job, that was voted on us by all of us, just states, advises, and informs the police jury on the operations and affairs of the parish. If we want to get deeper than that, then I would suggest you calling and asking Mr. Ross for an executive session. And if he grants that, we do the notice and we go wherever that needs to go.
Yeah.
But if I agree with you, that is one of his responsibilities and duties according to this sheet. But the details of that sounds like have to be done at his request in executive session. Now, he might decide he wants it out here, whenever.
I know, but I didn't bring up the issue, he did.
Yes, ma'am, I
You
understand.
see what I'm saying? So now I'm getting the feedback because of something he brought up. Now, he brought it up to me, I should address it, know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't bring that up, Ms. Burrell. You brought that up.
Yes, you did.
We can go back and listen to the recording.
I'll make a
Well,
motion.
we're not gonna get it down the road.
Yeah, we need to move on
Yeah.
off of
Go
this.
to an executive session so we can move on if we have.
So Mr. Norton has to ask for the executive session? Right.
No, Ms. Burrell will.
Ms. Burrell has to ask for the executive session, okay.
Yep, okay, I'm gonna see if I'm gonna get it granted, cause I don't usually get
He gonna give it to you,
executive
now the
session.
public is here.
Yeah, I'm asking for executive session to discuss this matter immediately.
What's your date?
It can be tomorrow, for as I'm concerned.
I gotta get 24 hours notice. 24 hours.
I mean,
Just do next meeting.
Do it for the next meeting.
You're
Monday before the meeting?
gonna charge, they're gonna charge the taxpayers mileage if we keep coming back. Just do it next meeting. It's 2 weeks.
And Monday before the meeting?
all right, that's fine with me, but it need to be discussed. It really do. And, he knew about this way 24 hours before, cause I've been to put this on the agenda. So, Joe, to make sure you get it to me right, because I can't see why we couldn't discuss it now unless you're hiding something.
Got a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I made it.
Oh,
She seconded it.
Okay, well,
Motion to adjourn.
I made it and she
All right.
seconded it.
solid waste.
I told you they're gonna. Call the solid waste committee to order. Call for any deletions or additions. Hearing none, any guest or public comments? Hearing none, solid waste items number 1. Authorize the parish administrator to sign a proposal from Foyer and Arbro, I can't say their names.
Arbro.
Forgive me.
No.
Engineers LLC for monitoring wells MWG1-16, plugging and abandonment and replacement preparation of a major solid waste permit modification application and submission. Preparation of a major Title V permit modification application and submission. SWPPP and SPCC upgrades to include RNG facility, monitoring wells, plugging, and abatement. Wetlands delineation, study for the west landfill property, and addendum to the proposal for engineering assistance in construction, quality assurance services for preparation of subgrade for cell 10 at the Mundy landfill, and amend the budget in the amount of $302,500. I don't really know how to say that. $302,500, with $159,000 being reimbursed by biomethane.
Ooh, that was a mouthful.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. Mr. Baker, seemed like when they was down, seemed like this was gonna be a no cost to us.
There's more in this than what you're saying about the no cost. The biomethane part of it, to put in the biomethane, is $159,000, which they're going to repay us for. The rest of it has with the expansion of putting in cell 10.
Another cell 10, okay.
And it's also starting the wetlands delineation study that is to the west of the current landfill. There's about 3 different projects. Well, each one of them little semicolons,
Yeah.
that's a different project.
Okay. Okay, but those are our projects, right?
Those are our projects.
Okay.
$159,000 of it has to do with the biomethane project, which they are paying for.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
So-
Hearing none?
so
All
moved.
those, what?
Someone made a motion on that yet? You ain't got a motion on that yet.
Mr. Mitchell made it.
Yeah, I have a motion and a second, Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Fuller.
Okay, I guess I'm,
You were sleeping.
yeah. Now, I'm still in this array of the last discussion.
Please vote now.
Take long enough to leave.
Motion passes.
That's what we got, man.
Authorize the president to sign an it's a hold harmless agreement, basically,
Identification.
with neighbors' property north of the landfill in conjunction with the construction of biomethane gas processing.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion? All those in favor, please vote now. Motion passes. Discuss scrap metal at the landfill.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Just for discussion.
Just for discussion. There was a total on all the transactions done of 829 tons. Of that 829 tons, we had tons recovered at a cost of $8.20 a ton, which is $6,805. We have received payment from the person doing the work of $2,200, and he is going to get rebilled for the remainder of that balance. we'll see what happens.
Next question.
Yes.
How did you come up with those figures? Did you use that, price that they mentioned by Mr. Bull share with you, or you just went with the lowest end?
I contacted the local, several local dealers, River City Metal, CMC, and General Scrap up in Shreveport. They gave us some current pricing,
Yeah.
which was anywhere from $3 to $4 per hundred. The average pricing that DeSoto Iron Metal provided us during that time was $2.81 per hundred, and that's how we came up with the calculation.
Yes.
So, now what was it the total? You said 6,000 something dollars
Yes.
from 2019?
2020.
Well, okay,
Yes,
2020
sir.
to current 2023, on a $6,000?
It was
I do
eight.
scrap, Mr. McNoy, and, I just took a little low one trailer, and that gave me $300 some dollars.
You're right, you took it.
And-
This is where they came out to the landfill
Well,
and
what I'm
picked
saying,
it up
all
in their
this stuff that
vehicles.
I've seen what's been at the landfill. I've seen all that scrap out there. That's a lot of scrap. And with them taking it to the land, and that's all they got, $6,000? Mm-hmm. Come on.
Little under $7, actually. It's about
Mr.
$69.95.
No, I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. I'm not saying you on that, but I'm just saying, that ain't near about close. No, sir. Not for that kind of scrap that's at that landfill that they've taken for 3 years? Oh, no.
I know your calculator.
And really honestly.
No way possible.
No, it's not. And then that's just at the landfill. What about all the scrap he was coming off and up to the road department? We hadn't even discussed that.
Well, this is solid waste, and we're not talking about what happened at the road department.
Well, y'all
So
get
that's
it.
another subject. That's not gonna be, road department ain't discussed in solid
No,
waste.
well,
you
y'all
changed
put
the
it under
subject.
solid waste. I said discuss, I didn't say put it under
I
solid
didn't put
waste.
it under solid
Whoever
waste.
put it under
You
solid
put
waste.
it under
No,
solid
I
waste.
did not put it under solid waste. I put it on the administration. It got put on the solid waste. Because I want to discuss the road department, that hadn't ever been discussed. And scrap came from the road department and it came from the landfill. So I'm like Mr. Fuller, ain't nobody gonna make me believe it was 6,000 and some odd dollars just taken from that. Come on.
Mr. Chair, I think that's probably what labeled as 10, or just
What?
10. It's probably labeled as 10, the metal.
Mr. Ross.
Do what?
Shredded tin is what it's labeled
Shredded
as.
tin. It goes from $2 to $4 a hundred.
These are refrigerators, these are all kind of heavy. Come on, I don't care if it
Hey,
was 10.
A refrigerator goes at 10 price.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know, Mr. Baker, like I said, I take scrap, so I know.
And
You
I
don't
sell
have to explain
scrap
that to me.
too, Mr. Fuller.
don't have to explain that to me. I understand. I take
I'm not
scrap
gonna-
myself.
I'm just not gonna talk to you, Mr.
Okay, you don't
Fuller.
have to.
Look, look,
Hey,
Hold on,
I had to call order.
let's move
We
on.
have to get order, man. It's running, time's running late.
Right.
Let's go ahead and move our meeting on.
I understand
Let's go
everybody's
to our
hungry, you know, but
I'm ready.
let's kind of speed up the discussion.
What?
Let's go and get our workers
Everybody
in.
hungry,
Get them home.
I'm just
agitated.
saying $6,000 ain't correct.
You can. By help yourself.
Be scared. It ain't never about correct.
Let's order out.
They know
Motion to
it ain't.
adjourn.
Mr. Jones, you on that committee?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I guess I need to put that back on the agenda.
Road department.
I gotta wake up now.
Get out here and play.
Road department call to order. Is any additions or deletions? The road committee, any guests or public comment? Please. Number one, authorize administrator to sign an agreement with owner engineer agreement amendment number 3 for Beast Engineering LLC for Power Road Project and amend the budget in the amount of $30,000.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Keith Parker,
Second.
second by Mr. Jimmy Holmes. Any discussion? Yeah, what's this $30,000 for, Mr. Administrator?
It's for additional RPR work on Powell Road.
A little more explanation than that.
This amendment is to increase the amount for RPR on Powell Road. That's the item that was given to me to present to y'all.
What's RPR?
Resident Project Representative. That's our representative as whenever a project
I
is
should get up here and
road
explain
department.
this to her.
Mr. Roster, would you come up and explain that to us? Sounds like it's gonna be cheap for us to hire another engineer.
What this is, the original contract's gone from 90 days to over 200 days. The construction
Whose
time.
fault is that?
I'd have to dig into that. I can't speak to whose time. The time is associated with some additional work we had due to drainage, due to some property owners that we had out there. We had some redesign, as well as the utility issues and so forth you're aware of. But I didn't dig too much into the extensions of time. But that's what the majority of this is related to. We have RPR, we have an inspector, and we have the engineering services by Beast Engineering that's providing the RPR, and the increase in time has led to this increase. And this has not been spent fully. Right now, we're at about, this is to allow us to complete the job. This is the estimated cost to allow us to complete the job. Right now, we've spent about $9,000 of this $30,000. We may not utilize the full $30,000. This is billed on a as-used basis. This is an estimated cost to adjust the agreement, and whatever, he'll turn it, the engineer or the RPR will turn in hourly rates that we're pre-agreed in the engineering agreement. We got those hourly rates and mileage that will be billed as used.
So you're thinking we're not gonna spend all this $30,000?
I would like to come in under the $30,000, yes, but this is
You'd
what.
be the first engineer ever done that.
But no, I cannot guarantee that, but I would like to come in a little bit under that. I'm hoping we can get this thing wrapped up. We need to go out there and do a little bit more grading and do a little seeding, and we'll have this job complete.
Mr. Kennington?
Yeah, I'm not on the road committee, but it is in my district and it was my project. It's my understanding the seeding and the overseed or whatever, and the spreading of the dirt along the side of the roads, that's included in the original contract. The only thing that we've added is a little bit of drainage work in 2 specific ditches, which both, I was told, if I understood Mr. Brown right, at the first meeting I was at, is gonna be done by our people, correct? In-house? The carrying the outfall ditch on the north and south side, that ditch work will be done by our staff, right?
No, we're.
He's shaking his head yes, and you're saying no.
Mr. Reister has assumed responsibility.
No, I understand, but you were there and made the deal when I was at these meetings. That's why I'm asking you. I'm not trying to go around him.
The one outfall ditch between, next to McCoy or on McCoy property, that's correct.
Okay. So that, to do that ditch and extend that out requires $30,000 worth of supervision?
No, like I said, we've already, basically we've already incurred about $9,000 to date. So that'll be additional work, coming forward. And so, if you have a week's time, I think you'd be looking at, $5,000 to $6,000 worth of RPR expenses each week. So, somewhere in that ballpark.
And that's not something we can do in-house. We're
we've
not
had-
changing the ditch. The ditch is already there.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out and explain to people and explain to myself and explain to my fellow jurors that had to vote on this because I'm not on that committee, why we need to spend $21,000 if you say 9's already spent. Why we need to spend $21,000.
I can work to limit the amount of RPR that we have moving forward to keep this as low as possible, but we do need to increase the current amount to cover costs that we've already incurred. But I can work diligently to make sure we try to come in lower on this $30,000 amount, and I think I can do that. But we do need some increase to cover what we've already incurred to date.
Okay. Anything else?
Just one final comment. We did have a policy in place that we wouldn't incur any expense in any manner by any of us on the jury or any of our employees unless it was in the budget. I'd just like to see in the future, I'll be gone, but in the future I'd like to see if things go above and beyond the budget that they get approved as state law requires. prior to
Okay.
the work.
All right. All right, any more discussion? Please vote now. Thank you, Michael. Rafter, not that other Michael. Mr. Norton.
Ms. Jerry?
Who? Oh, Miss Jerry, you voted. Motion passes. Item 2, authorize the parish administrator to sign agreement with Beast Engineering LLC for Martinez-Dalton project.
So move.
Motion by Ms. Burrell,
Second.
second by Mr. Arnell Jones. You got an explanation on this one, Mr. Rocker?
This is moving forward, the capital project that we have, Martinez-Delton, just move forward with hiring Beast Engineering to develop that project and carry out the RPO on that project.
What is the project?
Where's this at?
Martinez-Delton,
On Delta Lane in Martinez Road,
In your district?
yeah.
The old Cowboy store.
Okay, by the old Cowboy store, okay.
yeah, south of Mansfield on 171.
Might need an alter motion, hire another engineer.
What the work's gonna consist of is adding some drainage and raising the road primarily, and of course overlay work associated with that.
Rigmarole.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Is that the one across from Cooper's Cowboy?
Yeah, the one I've been trying to get.
Any more discussion? Please vote now. Thank you, Michael. Roster. Motion passes. Authorize the jury to hire Oates and Marino to expropriate a property for the Westdale Plantation Bridge.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Arnell.
Yeah, what is that?
Huh?
It's on the,
I get a second.
She seconded?
She's second.
Okay, Ms. Burrell seconded.
she wanna know what the location was.
That's down there on that bridge down there. It's actually a Red River Parish Bridge, 'cause that was one of theirs that we put money in, 'cause we have 3 or 4 families live in DeSoto Parish that's got to cross that bridge. It's all the way down south. You actually get to it off of Red River, off of Highway 1.
That's the only way you can get to it.
Yeah, the only way you can get to it. And Mr. Norton, I talked to Mr. Jimmy Davis, and he has no idea what you're doing here. Have you talked to the parish president in Red River Parish?
I'm sorry, you said that he has no idea what I'm doing here?
No idea what this item is on the
That item
Westdale
was
Bridge.
communicated to that jury by the former administrator years ago. And from what I've been told by Mr. Brown, it's in their wheelhouse. It's to the Red River Parish police jury to take action.
Okay, has anybody looked at that bridge? Have you looked at it, Mr.?
Yes,
Brown?
I've been out there and seen the bridge.
'Cause Mr. Jesse Davis said it got turned down 'cause they missed some pilings on it.
It got closed by DOTD just
Yeah.
recently because of those pilings, yes, sir.
Yeah, 'cause of pilings, okay. That's the only thing he knew about.
Because
He,
of high water.
he didn't know about the land appropriation and all this.
And that is a new development. This is moving forward to hire a lawyer to look into that option for us to see what we can do there. And that's the only thing holding the project up is acquiring that piece of property. And that's what we need to get this project moving forward. And that's what we're gonna hire this representation to see what we need to do moving forward. To try to get this off a stalemate, so we can, it's an off-system bridge program funded by the state. That's what we need to do to get the project moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Rowe.
Bro.
Who?
If the bridge is closed, how are those 3 or 4 people getting home now? They're swimming?
No, they're walking across the bridge. They just ain't letting nobody.
I got a 4-wheeler where they leave
Yeah.
it at the end of the bridge.
And they drive back and forth
drive
on
the
it.
four-wheeler.
It's not passable for vehicles right now. So they either walk back and forth or else got a 4-wheeler.
That's our bridge?
No, that's really Red River
River
Bridge.
But we're giving,
But the residence is in DeSoto
The
Parish.
residents are in
Residents.
DeSoto Parish.
That's your
yeah,
constituency.
Your
okay.
district, there's 3 nice houses across that thing. Okay, please vote now.
Is this a joint effort, joint
Yeah, it
project?
was.
It's
Yeah,
a joint project? Okay, good,
Been going on a couple of years.
okay.
Motion passes. Amended budget in the amount of $61,632 to authorize hiring an outside laid-down contractor for the road list in Exhibit 1. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Parker,
Second.
second by Mr. Darnell. What this is, our lay-down machine went down, turbo went out of it. It's gonna be 90 days before we can get a new turbo for it. And we got road projects we need to finish. So this is a contractor we're gonna bring in to, finish the road projects we already got started. Isn't it Mr. Light, who is it?
Danny Lighted?
Danny Light, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Please vote.
Will please vote now.
Y'all gotta stop putting your.
Motion passes. Discuss and take action regarding work in the village of Long Street on Winter Road.
Make a motion.
Second.
All right, motion by made by, who? Jimmy Holmes, and second by Mr. Darnell. Who put this on the jury and whose
Put that on
district
the
is it on?
agenda. That street is in the town limits of, Long Street there, and we never voted on a CEA to do that work. And every other incorporated area in the parish, we've always had to do a CEA with. And so that's why I was, put it on here is to find out who authorized it and why it was done without us authorizing work done in the town limits of Long Street.
Okay, Mr. Norton, you got an answer for that?
Yes, sir. It was authorized, requested by Mr. Mitchell, and it was assigned to Avery Williams by our road department to do the work on Winter Road. I don't know why it was done. It was done unbeknownst to me. I was asked to look into this and provide this for the jury. So, Winter Road is from what I can tell, Winter Road is in the town, so.
And we don't have a CEA with them?
No, sir.
Mr. Rock can answer that.
Okay, Mr. Mitchell.
I was told that portion was the parish, that's a new district that I acquired there. I instructed them, to do the whole Winter Road. But they told me they couldn't do it because it was inside, the village. Okay. And I told them to do the whole Winter Road, but I also told them, which that's our dump site up there too. That's our little disposal site. It was full of holes.
The Winter Road does not go by the dump site.
It comes up around, if you turn up, and you come to the dump site.
No, sir. Winter Road is just a small area. It goes from 3015 straight north all the way up to the church, Methodist church there.
There's no turnoff, Mr. Holmes, to go to the dump off that road?
Not off that road. Another street, yes.
What? That's what I just asked. It is.
Well, it's not Winter Street though.
Yeah.
It's a different street.
Mr. Holmes, I believe you, I'm gonna tell you in this meeting, I got all the respect in the world for you, but I believe you're targeting me. They told me they
All right,
couldn't do that.
come to order, come to order. That's enough. That's enough. We're going to executive session. That's
Okay.
enough.
I'll ask for executive session too.
Okay.
That'll be fine.
All right, any other questions?
It's just amazing how we have to have a CEA with everyone else, and then all of a sudden,
Wow.
this town of Long Street is
Somehow,
authorized to do it.
Somehow.
We did a lot.
Mr. Mitchell requested it, and somehow it got dropped through the,
It's just a weird.
That's all I can tell you. They told me they stopped because we'd have to have a CEA.
okay. All right, that was,
Holes everywhere.
We decent roads get done with that CEAs all the time.
Amen.
Beg your pardon?
Just
Put your own money,
be
go ahead.
honest with it, this roads get done all the time with that CEA. Cause I have been,
No, it's
where
not adjourned.
it had people that say, well, you got this left over, what you
All
wanna
right.
do with it?
all right, please vote now. That's the reason Frierson not incorporated.
First off, this was not done with ARPA money. This was not done with ARPA money.
Put it up on the agenda.
Now, it went off and money,
money
you ain't
doing
talking
the
about.
Take action on regarding the village.
What action are we taking?
Well,
We done the road, so we got to approve doing it.
So we're gonna do a CEA and use ARPA funds, or what?
We ain't gonna use ARPA funds. You wanna do a CEA with them, Mr. Jim?
Yeah.
Authorize administrator to do a CEA with Town of Low Street, I guess.
What are we doing the CEA for? The road's already done.
Already
Road's
done.
Trying to get our money back for it. You know, they've done CEA.
If I was the city of Longstreet, I wouldn't pay you. You've already done the work without doing any CEA. You agreed to, and did the work without any kind of agreement. You're not coming back on me now and say I'm gonna have to pay you.
That's what I feel like they'll say.
Well, I
That's
feel
correct.
like it, and I'm sure that's what they're gonna say.
But we have a policy
I know it.
on doing streets
agree with you, Mr.
and
Holmes.
roads in the incorporated towns. Now, all of a sudden, we doing them without the
I don't
agreements.
think we got any legal action we can actually take against the city of Longstreet.
Yeah, because we dropped that ball.
We dropped the ball.
Dropped that ball.
No, somebody bounced the ball around us.
Whatever.
That's what happened,
Somebody did a slam dunk on it.
without authority.
With one of them whirlarounds on him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me an alternate motion to defer this for 90 days and it'll go away.
You don't have to take action. You can
Ain't
just
nothing to
adjourn.
do about it.
Ain't nothing you can do, just discuss,
Yeah.
and we
Vote no. That's all you can do now.
we've discussed it, and
I understand what
Move
Mr.
on.
Holmes is saying, and I think that's something we should be taking up in policy and procedures.
Need a motion to adjourn?
so move.
So move.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We adjourn.
Policies and Procedures Committee call to order. Any call for additions or deletions?
Getting worse.
Any guest or public comments?
What this special meeting?
Hearing none, item number one, authorize the president to sign a resolution regarding capital projects included in the budget as it pertains to signing agreements for those capital projects to not be brought to the jury unless it exceeds the original authorized budget amount.
So move.
Got a first? Ms. Simpson, second. Somebody explain what this is?
This is for, the projects that we already been voted on and been approved. And they have to get in at a timely manner. And it takes time for us to come through the system of the jury when the engineer needs to go ahead and move forward on it. On the projects that we already approved.
Yep.
Not all the projects. That's what this for.
What if every one of them runs over $30,000?
Anybody else got a question or?
When
I have
were
a-
said
I'd like to-
projects,
Hold on, Mr. Baker.
excuse me for not raising my hand.
Oh, you're good.
When were supposedly these said projects approved? Since we're only doing the ones that were approved, when are we saying they were approved?
They was approved a while back. I remember that. They was.
It was the ones that, with B's that, like you had
There's-
a deadline on it, Mr. Michael?
Mr. Baker, there's an Exhibit A in your packet that lists the projects.
You approved.
When this came up, that it was coming on my agenda, I asked that, the resolution actually refers to various and certain, and I was certain of nothing, and various includes everything, so I asked for an exhibit to explain what projects they're referencing. So there's an Exhibit A that includes those projects. My only comment would be, we've already approved every one of those projects in the budget, and we've already approved every one of those projects to be done. What do we need permission to do? If you're asking for permission to spend more than the budgeted amount, then I've got a major problem with this.
No,
No, it's not that.
no, for example, the short form agreement for the Martinez-Delton project, y'all have authorized us to spend about $1 million on that project, but we have to come back to you to get authorization to hire that firm again, and it just slows the process down if we're waiting months to
For a meeting.
get authorization to sign a document. Because the original resolution that y'all adopted in November of '21 required that if anything has to be signed by the jury, it has to go before the jury. So we're just asking for a resolution to allow for us to take action, sign those documents for just the approved ones that are in that Exhibit A.
Well, Mr. Norton, just a week ago, you informed me that we didn't sign contracts or agreements with Beast Engineering. So therefore, they didn't have to come to us.
Not all of them, no, sir. Most of the agreements that we have with them are that we issue POs for those. We don't do signed agreements with them. If they want to do a complete job like Martinez Delton, they are required to submit to us a proposal like that short form that Mr. Reister gave y'all earlier.
So these jobs that are listed in this exhibit, every single one of them, they've requested a contract on?
I did not say that. These jobs in this exhibit are ones that have been approved in the budget, either in the capital budget or we've made amendments to approve them.
Anybody else have a question? Because I have another one, but So what happens if we approve, and I'm making this up, if we approve $50,000 for the Hoopla Park parking and perimeter fence in the budget, and you go hire Beast Engineering, and Beast Engineering runs up a $49,500 bill in engineering, which is not out of the question, then you're going to have to come back to us to get more money to go actually do the project that we originally approved.
That is correct.
So that's why I'm about as strong as anything I've been opposed to tonight. This is probably the most, because you're asking, and I think I told you on the phone, you're not saying it in those words, but you're implying that we give you a blank check, or give the office, not you, give the office a blank check to go do what's necessary without following proper procedures of bringing everything to a vote before the jury.
And I would respectfully disagree with you. I'd say on that project, Hoopla Park, for $50,000, if we do run over that budget, it would have to complete that project, we would have to come back to the jury to ask y'all to amend the budget.
But if we knew that you were spending $49,500 on engineering fees and we hadn't even gotten to the first rock turned over yet, we probably would cancel that project or do something different.
I would probably recommend that too.
So we're basically throwing a hook out there that Mr. Baker's going to have to rebait and clean the fish whenever. I mean, because we don't know what's going to be on the other end of that. I mean, you have to see it that way. I mean, you may not agree with it, but you have to see what I'm pointing out.
I do. I understand what you're saying.
Well, either that or we just have special meeting when they come up. Just got to have a special meeting and vote on it before the deadline.
Chances are most of these don't require contract like everything we've done this year. Most everything we've done.
But they have to run through the jury before.
It doesn't. It hasn't. Any other questions? Seeing none, will you please vote on item number 1? Miss Jody, who's left?
Mr. Baker, Ms. Burrell.
Okay.
Oh.
Motion failed. Item 2, adopt policy 606, mileage reimbursement for compactor site floaters. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Baker, do I have a second?
Yeah.
Ms. Burrell? Oh, I was just saying, you seconded. Anybody want to explain this?
Yes, sir. The jury currently has no policy on mileage reimbursements for their floaters. However, since I've been here and prior to my administration, the jury has been reimbursing floaters when they are transferred from one compact site to another outside the circle that's within where they currently reside. We had an issue where an employee at the landfill, one of our compactor site operators, came and made a request to payroll to be reimbursed for some mileage. And when I dug into this, I found out there is no formal policy for the mileage. I said, we can reimburse you if we have a policy, but we have no policy. The jury has been reimbursing floaters for mileage for as long as I know. So I'm asking the jury to adopt this policy so we have something in writing that we can move forward with.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, Mr. Fuller.
how was this a red flag? I mean, why did this come up?
Because
I mean, we've been paying them already before, so, I mean, what made you look into it?
because we had an employee contact payroll, and they asked to be reimbursed for something, and they came to me.
I guess
for-
what I'm saying, how was the normal process? I mean, those other people who have been getting reimbursed, what did they do?
Sherman, when he was located at the landfill, he would tell a person if they're hired as a floater, they would be paid mileage from their home. If they're outside the circle where they reside to another location, another compactor site.
Yeah.
But I can't find where the jury ever authorized us to pay the mileage for that. So that's what the policies were. That's how it came up. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else? The only thing I'd say is, in almost every company I'm familiar with, which is practically all I do, you're paid to go to work. So like, take the bank, for example. If I hire a floater teller and they live in Stonewall, and they normally work at the Stonewall office, then they come to work in Stonewall on their own dime. If they get to Stonewall and we're short-handed in Mansfield, and I ask them to go to Mansfield and work the rest of the day, then I pay them mileage from Stonewall to Mansfield and back. But they're paid to go one place. I mean, not paid. Their job requires them to go to work. Now, when we hire, surely we have a proper. I mean, I'm sure we have a job description for a floater that describes what floating is, that you're not going to the same office every day. I mean, I'm sure they understand that. And the only issue I take with the map, number one, I felt like I was back in middle school looking at all those circles in geometry. But, you know, if we're gonna do that, then we need to hire a floater out of Stonewall, Frierson, or Gloucester that services Gloucester North. And we need to hire a floater out of Mansfield, Pelican, if they're gonna serve over here. And we need to hire a floater out of Logansport, Stanley, if they're gonna work over here, and not send them across, I'm saying district lines, but to another part of the parish. That's not what we do that I know of. How many floaters do we have?
I don't know. I think it's approximately 6. It's 12 now? Yeah.
Is it 12?
I thought it was only 6. Yeah.
So, I mean, barring any legal thing that I'm missing, I don't understand why we would pay. I do understand we'd pay them if we send them to one location. Do they work every day, Miss Amy? Or Mr. David?
They don't work every day. You know, sadly to say, we have a lot of older people that work at the compactor sites. I think you guys all know, a lot of them out for health reasons, health problems. Those floaters come into place, stay with them. For instance, up at Stonewall, we've got a guy up there with, got one guy out. Well, when somebody don't show up, I gotta pull one out of South Mansfield to come up there. It's kinda like the banking business. He works the same. South Mansfield over here, and I gotta pull him to Stonewall. Well, I need to be able to pay him miles to go there, but it's, people get sick, people
Right.
are out.
I don't care, they don't pay them nothing anyway. They all be glad to give them out, because we ain't paying them folks nothing.
I don't, Miss Burrow, I don't disagree that they deserve mileage if
They
they
do.
travel in their own vehicle.
They deserve mileage.
But it needs to be fair and equitable and a wise plan to, not just give it away. Any other questions or comments?
Chump change.
But they want to, they come, they want to.
Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries. Motion to adjourn?
Oh, so moved.
So moved by Ms. Simpson.
All right.
Your turn. Let's get it going.
Special meeting, don't go anywhere. Special meeting call to order. We're gonna skip the invocation, the pledge of allegiance, any guests and public comments on the special meeting. Any additions and deletions to the special meeting. Being none, new business, amend the budget in the amount of $61,632 to authorize hiring an outside laydown contractor for the road listed in Exhibit A. Got a motion by Mr. Rowe?
Second.
Second by Ms. Burrell. Mr. Holmes, discussion? There's no discussion, please vote.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Got one more on
One more remaining.
Mr. Parker?
Mr. Parker, gosh, dog, you trying to hold up at 9 o'clock.
Motion passed. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We'll adjourn. Thank y'all for coming out. Have a blessed night.